Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And why do I feel like I'm doing a radio voice right now? I apologize. I don't know what that was. Hey, guys, what's happening? We've got all sorts of stuff going on. We've got wildness on Twitter. We've got people pleading guilty to crimes. We've got discovery requests going haywire. We've got witness lists. We've got all sorts of dumb stuff happening today. All sorts of stuff. And so that's why we're doing a legal roundup. Now here's the problem. Let me tell you guys the problem. I have forgotten to close my vault door. Give me 1 second. There we go. Sorry about that boom. Sorry about the boom. That's the vault for you. All right, chat. So here's what we've got. We've got FPS Russia. That's what we're starting with today. You know, of course, Kyle Myers, FPS Russia. He liked to use the guns. Show you how to make things go boom, okay? That is FPS Russia. We're going to talk about him. Also, of course, of Painkiller Already. Painkiller Already, I think is the time. I always mess up the A, so if I messed it up, I'm sorry. But we're going to be talking not to Kyle. We're going to be talking about Kyle and what has happened in his case. This was a couple days back, but there's the tell. Look out. There's the tell. I'm not going to talk about Kyle, apparently, because of the tell. Oh, sorry, guys. Javi EMDS says, I love the stream 1 hour early. Well, you can thank daylight savings time, because for me, it's the same time. But we have moved ahead in time. 1 magical hour. So that's where that is. And I hope you guys, I did get a new camera. I hope you guys like the new camera. It's not Painkiller Anonymous. It's Painkiller Already. I think. So we're going to talk about his situation in just a minute. I am going to get started, I promise. At midnight, my time, so in just under an hour, we're going to invite Cody from Anime Outsiders on to talk about Vic Mignogna. Cody got to meet up and talk with Vic at an anime convention over the weekend. So we're going to talk about, I guess, what they talked about. We'll find out how that's going. And then we're going to talk about some very, very brave and courageous news stories and news networks that are definitely unbiased and really here to give you the full truth and the full story, and they do it in the best ways. So we're going to talk about that too. Let's see. Oh, first, very important order of business. I went to the mail to get my mail today, and I had a whole bunch of stuff. Where did I put it? Are we serious? Oh my goodness. Oh, here it is. So I wanted to do a couple quick thank yous just so Russell Greer will someday send me something and I can not thank him. So from Corey provided me with a bottle of Talisker, which I am very excited to try. It is a peated single malt whiskey. I'm not going to open it tonight. I'm going to save it for the appropriate time. But it's one that's been on my list for a long time. Thank you. And he also, I won't get into it too much, but he sent me a tasting kit of tools to go with tasting the whiskey. And he's looking to maybe offer these types of kits to people to enhance their experience. And so I'm going to test out his tasting kit, not tonight, but soon, and review it and see how it changes and enhances the flavors. I think that looks awesome. Thank you very much for that. I got, let's see, from Henry, I got I Heart Whales, a very important book that I'm definitely going to enjoy. It is a comic book. It is very important. So we'll be going through, or I'll be going through this in the very near future. Thank you, Henry, for that. Let's see. Landon, my official anime recommender, sent me 4 mecha themed anime, which I cannot wait to watch. Thank you so much, buddy. I will watch them and let you know what I think. I'm very excited to watch them. He also sent me a handy guide so I would understand the anime I was watching. And then finally, one last thing was from, hold on. From Mike. Mike, thank you, Mike. A local Minnesota resident sent some sweatshirts from Prior Lake to my kids. Thank you so much. Some Prior Lake sweatshirts, shorts, little baby shirt. Baby shirt, thank you. And something to keep me warm in the winter. And finally, the funniest part of that gift, something I'll be having hooked up soon so we can keep track of this, a blood pressure monitor for when I go on a crazy, ridiculous rant. We can test it. We can test the monitor after one of those bad boys and see if I'm going to live through it. So that is that. Thank you all so much. You guys don't have to send me anything, but I really do appreciate the thoughtful gifts. It means a lot. It really does. I know my image is mirrored. Okay. The reason my image is mirrored is because when I invite Cody on, we'll be using Hangouts. So I'm using the Hangouts right now. So that's why that is. Check DMs. What's up? What's up? Is the DMs about the charity? Is it the charity? Yeah, I need to do, okay. I know that there's some talk about that charity, but I'm not gonna talk about it too much tonight. I gotta look into it. From last I checked, I mean, I've started skimming the Inspector General's report on the charity, and I am looking into it. Goodness gracious, I'm thirsty tonight. If I mirror the image, you won't know when I have a tell. You won't know when the tells are happening. Okay, let's start talking Kyle Myers quick, also known as FPS Russia. We'll talk about him for just a little bit, and then we'll do some chats, and then we'll get back into some other stuff, Anis Abdin, and then we'll get into Cody. Okay, so here we go. Where was it? Oh, yeah, I've got it pulled up for you guys, just not for me. So this is the plea. Doxed out of his mind, Kyle Myers pleads guilty to count 4 of the indictment on the 5th of March, 2019. Count 4 of the indictment is we've got the plea agreement here, but briefly, it's 21 U.S. Code Section 841A1, which is A2. Create, distribute, or dispense, or possess with intent to distribute or dispense, or something like that. Basically, the long story short is he pled guilty of possessing marijuana oil, honey butter. No, honey butter oil, I think is how they... Why don't I look at the document? It's almost like there's a handy little guide that the government has prepared called the plea agreement that tells us exactly what happened. All right, so this is all just boring. This says that the defendant is ready to plead guilty, has the ability to plead guilty. There's a legal background for that. Let's get to the factual basis. So the defendant is guilty and will knowingly and voluntarily enter a plea of guilty to count 4 of the indictment, which charges defendant, they left out the with, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute of Title 21 USC 841A1, 841B1D. That's the sentencing portion of it, and Title 18 USC 2. All right. The defendant fully understands that defendant's plea of guilty as set forth in subparagraph A will subject to the defendant to a maximum term of imprisonment of 5 years. A maximum term of imprisonment of 5. We don't know 5 what. We don't know 5 what. You know, just for a second, let's consider that the government copies and pastes all of these things. Okay? They copy and paste this stuff, and they can't even get the years in there. They can't even get the years in there. So, it's BHO, which is not Barack Hussein Obama. That's the acronym they use. It's butane honey oil. All right, butane honey oil is it's not a synthetic marijuana. It's a concentration of THC created by basically soaking the marijuana in butane, performing some sort of controlled burn that produces an oil or waxy resin that resembles honey or butter, something like that. And there you go. That stuff is concentrated THC. You can smoke it. You can smoke a whole lot of it and really still not die. But it is my ethical obligation to tell you not to do that because that would be illegal. So, anyway, let's get back to this document. So, a maximum term of imprisonment of 5, a maximum fine of $500,000 or both, and a term of supervised release of not more than 3 years. Defendant further acknowledges that the court is required to impose a mandatory assessment of $100 per count. So that's $100. Court is not bound by any of this. Blah, 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 blah. They waive your appeal, so you can't appeal it. Good job. You waive your ability to challenge any of the stuff, like how the postal inspector was able to smell marijuana oil through a sealed container and sealed bags. But, you know, that's fine. Let's see. Here we go. This is a sad. This is a huge sad, guys. Abandonment and waiver of claims as to firearms and silencers and consent to their destruction. Let's read this sentence. And if we could get some sad Sarah McLachlan music in the background for this, that'd be great. In lieu of forfeiture, the defendant Kyle Myers freely and voluntarily agrees to abandon and relinquish all of his right, title, and interest in the following property. 1. Advanced Armament Corp. of Georgia, model TI Rand 45 caliber silencer, serial number TR453367. 1. Chris USA Inc. Transformational Defense Industry, model Vector SBR 45 caliber rifle, serial number 45R004437. 1. Advanced Armament Corp. model Cyclone 762 caliber silencer, serial number C00322. 1. Silencer Co. model Salvo 12 silencer, serial number SAL12-FPS-1. 1. Silencer Co. model Spec War 762 caliber silencer, serial number SW762-FPS-1. 1. Silencer Co. model Harvester silencer, serial number HRV-FPS-1. 1. Silencer Co. model Saker 762 caliber silencer, serial number SKR762-FPS-1. Silencer Co. model Sparrow 22 caliber silencer, serial number SPS-FPS-1. 1. SRM Inc. SRM Arms model SRM 1216, 12-gauge shotgun, serial number A000652, and one SRM Inc. model SRM 1216, 12-gauge shotgun, serial number C000155. The defendant is the sole owner of the seized firearms and silencers, which are in the lawful custody of the United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and warrants that there are no other persons or entities having an interest in the firearms slash silencers, except maybe the cartels that they're probably sending them to when they say they're destroying them. But, I mean, when has our government ever given guns to cartels or foreign entities? I mean, they don't do that. That would be silly for the government to go ahead and give guns to very dangerous people to prove a point. Defendant acknowledges that as a convicted felon, defendant has no right to possess the firearm slash silencers, either actually or constructively. Defendant hereby waives and abandons all right, title, and interest in the firearm silencers. The defendant acknowledges that the seized property was lawfully seized and waives, releases, and withdraws any claim that defendant has made with respect to the firearm silencers, and waives and releases any claim that defendant might otherwise have made to it in the future. He consents to the destruction of the firearms slash silencers, which definitely is going to happen. And he waives any right he may have had to receive notice or a hearing with respect to any motion, pleading order, or any other action that the government might take in its sole discretion to carry out the destruction of the firearm slash silencers. So if the government makes a motion, pleading, order, or anything else with respect to carrying out the destruction of the firearms, like for example, motions or orders that they won't be destroyed, but instead shipped to Mexico to be used to kill people, that he won't have a chance to intervene there. Defendant's waiver include without limitation all common law, statutory, and constitutional claims or challenges. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look what the government can make you do. You waive your constitutional right to challenge. I mean, it's guaranteed. It's a guaranteed right to challenge an appeal, but you waive it. You waive it because they let you. Now, if you had a private company, could you get a private company to waive your constitutional rights? Not easily. Not easily at all would they be able to do this. Oh, here's the best part. Here's my favorite part. Right here. Defendant agrees to hold the United States. Now, they screwed up the copy and paste again. This is boilerplate contract language. This is hold harmless and indemnity. Defendant agrees to hold the United States, the state of Georgia, and all political subdivisions thereof, its officers, agents, attorneys, servants, and employees from any and all actions. Harmless. Hold them harmless. You have to hold them harmless and indemnify them from any and all actions, causes. Well, he wouldn't actually indemnify. He'd just hold them harmless. Any and all actions, causes of action, suits, proceedings, debts, dues, contracts, judgments, damages, claims, or demands whatsoever in law or equity, which defendant, his successors or assigns ever had, now have, or may have, whether known or unknown, arising from and in connection with the seizure, abandonment, and destruction of the firearm silencers. Hypothetically, if someone were to take the firearms from the government, or let's say the government negligently misplaced the firearms somewhere, and then said firearm was used to murder someone, like let's say it was the defendant. Let's say it was the defendant's parents. Let's say the US government gave his guns to a cartel who then comes up to Georgia and murders his family. He would have held them harmless. The government would not be responsible for whatever death is caused by this gun at all because he's holding them harmless for the responsibility of seizing, abandoning, and destroying the firearms and silencers. So there you go. That's the win for the government. Not only can they send them off, but if they're used inappropriately, they can just not be sued for it. They cannot be sued for it. Not by Kyle, anyway. But, you know, his name's going to be on the registration when they backtrace it, so it'll probably be his fault. But, you know, I'm sure this never happens. Doesn't happen. Let's see. Here's a story of how this happened. Defendant agrees and stipulates that the government can prove beyond a reasonable doubt the facts alleged in this indictment. Here are the facts. On or about August 7th, 2017, United States Postal employee Wolf received a package mailed from California to the defendant's Kyle Myers' address, 7634 Royston Road in Carnesville, Georgia. Doxed. Wolf could smell the odor of marijuana emanating from the package. I bet he could. Bet he could, right? Let's do I have a second? Let's see. Kyle Myers. Let's see if I can find. I feel like I saw an evidence photo of this. Well, I'm not going to find it right now. Let's go on. We'll talk about how much it is. Just know they're very good. They're very good at smelling marijuana. I'm sure they definitely smelled the marijuana and it had nothing to do with the recipient. I bet it had nothing to do with the recipient, right? Let's read this again. Let's see how much they had, right? Now, mind you, this is marijuana oil. Wolf could smell the odor of marijuana emanating from the package and called the sheriff's office to report her findings. Wolf explained to the deputies Myers arrived at the post office earlier that morning seeking to retrieve the package and would return later that same morning. The deputies waited for Myers to return and retrieve the package. Myers returned at 11 a.m. and took possession of the package. The deputies detained Myers and seized the package until a search warrant could be obtained for the package, because they hadn't already searched it. They don't actually need a search warrant to search your mail, by the way. It's an exigent circumstance. It's an exemption to the warrant requirement. Anything that's moved in U.S. mail, they can search as long as they have probable cause. Now, riddle me this. If they have an exemption to the warrant requirement automatically baked into parcels shipped through the U.S. Postal Service, and they smelled marijuana, why on earth, why, from the smell alone, were they able to arrest Myers, but then forced to get a warrant to search the box? Why is that? Don't require a warrant. All you require is probable cause. You have to have probable cause to search the package, but you smelled weed and didn't search the package, and then you arrested him, and then you applied for a warrant, which wasn't necessary. Doesn't compute at all in brain. You have an exemption to the warrant requirement. You didn't smell it, did you, you liar? You didn't smell it, you liar. You cops lie about this all the time, and I hate it. You liar. You didn't smell it. You searched the package, but you didn't have cause. You found the weed oil. You sealed it back up, and then you said you smelled it and got a warrant. You know it. God, I hate it. And it happens all the time. All right. The deputies detained Myers and seized the package until a search warrant could be obtained for the package and Myers' home located at 7634 Royston Road. The deputies obtained a valid search warrant for both the package and the home and executed it in the afternoon. The package contained 16 pods of butane honey oil, a concentrated form of marijuana with a waxy appearance that can be smoked when heated, usually with butane torches. The deputies called ATF agents for assistance when they entered Myers' home and saw a large number of firearms throughout the home. During the search of the home, officers located 80 firearms and silencers, along with large numbers of ammunition in various rooms of the home. Some of the firearms were located in the same rooms with the butane torches. Oh my. BHO residue on plates, smoking devices for marijuana, and other items commonly used in the use and distribution of marijuana. Myers' cell phone was seized and searched pursuant to a valid search warrant. Review of text messages and emails showed Myers distributed marijuana and BHO to others. BHO is consumed by Myers and others at his home, among other places. The marijuana pods were sent to a criminal laboratory and tested positive for marijuana with a net weight of 17 grams. 17 grams. 17 grams. How many grams is a nickel? 5. 3.5 nickels. Coins. 3.5 nickel coins of marijuana oil in pods. They definitely smelled the marijuana. Definitely. All right. Kyle Myers, you put the F in FPS, good sir. I know why you did the plea. I know why you did it. It makes sense. It's not wrong. It's not the wrong move, but you got railroaded and you know it, buddy. Excuse me 1 second. Excuse me. All right. Sorry about that. Ha ha. Well, they accept the plea agreement. Of course they do. How would you argue in court against the gay ops they obviously pulled with the smell and warrant? You can't. You can't. Try and convince a judge that a cop with a drug recognition expert certification didn't recognize drugs that he smelled. Try and convince a judge that a cop is lying under oath about it. They do it every single day. Every single day. In Tennessee, there's a bill to make it specifically illegal to search based solely on smell of marijuana for this very reason. For this reason. Because the only cause they had to search was the smell of one guy who sees Kyle Myers' name, knows he's got a bunch of guns, prominent YouTuber, reviewing guns. But that didn't play anything into it. No, not at all. It was not a setup. How do you argue it? There isn't one. How do you argue when a uniformed officer lies under oath? And no, not all cops do this. I'm not saying that. Okay? Because I know there are good cops. I know in my balls there are good cops out there. I know it. However, every day, someone gets railroaded because a cop smelled marijuana after he found it. He then remembers smelling it earlier. However you want to explain it. They lie about this every single day, and people go to jail. Now, is he guilty? Obviously, right? Obviously guilty. He had received marijuana. He received it. They got him. They got the guilty guy. That's not how our system works, though. That's not how our system works. You don't just get the guy because he's guilty. You have to follow the process, but the government knows when the process is inconvenient and has found numerous ways to sidestep it. All right, let's look at the last thing here. So the question, of course, is going to be, what's in it for? What's Kyle in for? What's he in for? And we don't know. The nature of federal sentencing is in state court, at least in Minnesota, you can get the attorney, the prosecutor, you can lay out you can make a joint recommendation for a sentence. But Fed court doesn't work the same. There's a federal sentencing guideline guide, and they have to go through a pre-sentencing analysis. They have to do background checks. They have to find out what enhancements and downward enhancements there are. We're going to talk about a couple of those in just a second. But so it's hard to actually know because they don't have that pre-sentence investigation done yet. But here's what they've made a motion for, and this is important for Kyle, is a motion for additional decrease for acceptance of responsibility pursuant to U.S. sentencing guidelines 3E1B. So the motion is the United States, in support hereof, the United States shows that the defendant assisted authorities in the prosecution of defendant's own misconduct by timely notifying authorities of defendant's intention to enter a plea of guilty, thereby permitting the government to avoid preparing for trial and permitting the government and the court to allocate their resources efficiently. Therefore, in the event that the defendant qualifies for a 2-level decrease for acceptance of responsibility pursuant to Section 3E1.1A of the United States Sentencing Guidelines, and if the defendant's offense level is as determined prior to the operation of Section 3E1.1A is level 16 or greater, U.S. moves the court to make an additional 1-level decrease in the offense level pursuant to 3E1.1B. Now, back real quick to the plea agreement. Here's this part. The parties stipulate that a firearm enhancement under 2D1.1B1 and 12 are warranted, and that an enhancement for role in the offense under guideline 3B1.1 is not warranted. So this B1 and B12 are not just vitamins anymore, folks. This means that he gets 4 levels increase on the sentencing chart, but he qualifies for 2 or 3 level decrease under this downward departure motion. That's only if the judge grants the motion. But you know, it's up to the judge. It's up to the judge. So basically he'll get a 1-level enhancement. It's hard to say without any of the other information about Kyle. I would assume he doesn't have prior history, but I don't have enough info to tell you what the sentencing guideline will look like. But if you want to see it, let's see. Oh, you know what? Just a second. There's a mandatory minimum sentence on this. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. Let's see. Or was it Nixon? I want to know the sentence, the minimum sentence. 21 USC 841 B1. Hold on. B1B. B1B. He might not qualify for mandatory minimums here. Oh, wait, here we go. Let's see. Marijuana, 1,000 kilograms. Mm-mm-mm. 100 kilograms. Yeah, I don't know. I need to do a little more looking into this, because this does not seem correct. And I'm not going to do it live because I'll screw it up. But when that pre-sentence investigation comes out, I'll make sure and let you guys know what he's looking at. I really wanted to focus mostly on the nature of how they got him. Because this is like when you see some unhinged criminal defense attorney railing against cops or being really annoyed at something. This is why we get annoyed by it, because it just isn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work within our constitutional system when the government can lie with impunity. And they do every day. All right. Let's read a couple chats and then we'll talk. Oh, hang on 1 second. I'm still here. Don't worry. I just didn't want to dox the stream. I'm going to send the link to Cody and tell him to come on at midnight. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Highly professional. Always good at this. Here we go. Oh, yes. We're going to read a couple chats. Rick Nikita says, RIP, R.I.P. Ron Soye. Ron Soye. He's been really, really quiet today, hasn't he? Oh, don't worry, guys. What you just saw was me in blackface for a second. I got really close to the camera. Ron Soye was has I think he's gone 24 hours without a tweet. I wonder what happened to Ron. I wonder if Ron got some interesting mail. I don't know, but he sure is quiet. Been really hard for him to be so quiet lately. But yeah, that's a long time without a tweet. To Ron. May the Kickerman flow. All right. Gangio says, was a busy man this weekend and I didn't get to watch the stream. Slow day here in the basement at work, so I spent the last 6 hours catching up. Oh, thanks, buddy. I hope you enjoyed it. DLC Forces says, hey, Nick, I have a scoop for you. He follows up with ice cream scoop. Delicious. Mythos Irving says, Hero Hey stream raid. Hey, thanks. Thanks, guys. Welcome to the show. Mike Walters says, did you read, review, Twitter DM I sent you earlier? Maybe. I don't know. If not, I will. I've got so many, and I try and get to them as I can, but there's just a lot. Thomas Chalemi says, hey Siri, is it normal for hair to grow on my shaft? Is it safe to shave? James Karg says, pizza, pasta, soup, all or none? All. Siren Jag says, my name is Nick Rekieta, and I'm not saying I'm questionably heterosexual, but Ms. Vanjie. Okay. Andrew War Snowboard says, could 40K, RBG, and Drexel be combined for 24-hour? No, I want to do those kind of separate. Inkpenification says, I am Nick Rekieta, and I am the true successor of the Fist of the Lost Star, and I have the follow to say, you don't know you've already lost. Boz says, I am a practicing accountant and I want to know why there are only sexy dramas with lawyers and not accountants. We do need to find some sexy accounting drama. I'm sure there is some. PG and Deku says, hashtag late lawyer. I want the last few minutes of my worthless life returned. Lol, thanks for everything. And I decided to do the $20 Patreon tier. You rock. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. There are some new, $20 Patreon bonuses coming. Patreon and new project too. $20 tier bonuses will be discounts on the merchandise, discounted down to cost. So that's something we're going to be talking about soon. Gay and Still at Large says, always got to throw a few dollary dues in when my boy Cody is on stream. By the way, Nikki Rackets, what's your thoughts on tequila? I got a nice bottle of Bohica as my poison tonight. I have not delved into the world of tequila. So I don't know. Zero the Slayer says, I've committed the unforgivable crime of overcooking my steak. No! No, don't do that. Don't do that. We're going to talk tardigrades in just 1 second. I just want to get a couple of these chats out of the way. Solo Beverly says, no technical difficulties. This is fake, Nick. Michael Mascarena says, hashtag save Shane's chair. Don't shave Shane's chair. Save Shane's chair. Mythos Irving says, you're late and gay. Learn to work a clock, you boomer, Nick. Well, I don't. Clocks are complicated. Did you ever see that one the kid made for school? Nasenda says, they're trying to ruin Vic over hugs and kisses and hair touching. Lord only knows what litigation they're putting their brothers through. Sakaki Onzai says, I'm the broadcaster around here and you're putting my voice to shame. What the hell? And Discovery. Yes, Star Trek Discovery is coming. Yoto says, ever since I found your channel, my love for law and dumb people trying to run around it has been restored. I used to be a file clerk for a family law firm, and my funniest case I had to deal with was a woman who was married to 4 other men at the same time. The Kilted Privateer says, is that a literal vault door? If so, what brand? I don't remember, but here, real quick. Yes, it is a literal vault door, so there you go. Hope that made you happy. I don't remember what brand, and I can't read it from there. Robert R91, how did you like the monkey shoulder? It was surprisingly smooth. And then AM Tank says panic room. Hashtag panic room. Yes. 3 more, and then we'll do a quick update on tardigrades. Kevin Soak, PKARSK. Ismail Bolden says new stream up by Nick Rekieta. Time to hashtag get bent. And Jifsef says, first time donating to you. Thank you so much. I found your live stream funny to watch, but also I learn something about the law to a degree of our own justice system. Also, no B donation for a while since I got an RTX 2080. Ooh, color me jealous, buddy. Color me jealous. I want one. But we'll see. The kids keep demanding that they eat. So I have to wait. On that. All right, let's do some brief tardigrades talk, right? Let's do that. What do we got here? We got it. Nope, not that one. Not that one. That one. Did I close it? Oh, how annoying is that? Okay, just a second. We'll get it. So here's the basic gist of what was going on. Excuse me. I'm going to, I feel like I'm going to burp in just a second, but I'm not. It's not happening. All right. Let's get this pulled up. All right, let me, this is going to be weird. I'm going to put this over. You can't see it over there. Let me, oh my goodness. Tardigrades. Letter. No, open it. Here we go. This is top shelf entertainment. Watching me try and find the file I literally just saved. Here we go. All right. There it is. Okay, I apologize for being terrible at life. This is kind of an update on where Tardigrades is. So these guys are in a preliminary discovery because CBS has stated they've made a motion to dismiss. They've said that Anas Abdin has not stated a claim that is actionable. They said that he has not presented a prima facie case, some other things like that. and that they shouldn't even have to do anything. So then the judge ordered a limited amount of discovery to see if the plaintiff can supplement his complaint with some evidence to back up the claims. Now, here's the issue. When you're making a complaint, even though Shane doesn't understand this, you have to lay out a series of facts that lead to a legal conclusion. You can't just say that they did this thing that was illegal, okay? And those facts have to be specific enough for them to say yes or no with certainty as to what fact you're talking about. So, for example, you can't just say they must have unlawfully taken my idea. You have to say they took my idea because they had access to it, and we know they accessed the content and all that stuff. So Tardigrades, the concept has been posted, whatever the game is called that Anis Abdin is making. The development process has been posted on Steam and other forums for a while. So what he's trying to do is force them to produce evidence that they had access and did access the forums where this information was present. Okay? I hope that makes sense. But here we go. This is from CBS Broadcasting. This is the most recent document that has come out. But it summarizes really well how that process is going. We represent defendant CBS Broadcasting and Netflix in the above referenced action in accordance with the court's March 4th order. That was a motion, an order to compel them to produce evidence that they weren't producing. They weren't producing the requested discovery. They resisted it. The judge said, produce the discovery. You have to produce the discovery. We write in response to plaintiff's letter filed on March 1st to address certain of the representations made therein. We write further to advise the court that for the time being, the issues raised by plaintiff's letter appear to have been resolved, and on the consent of plaintiff's counsel to jointly request that the March 12th conference, which would be tomorrow, therefore be taken off the calendar or adjourned to a later date. Plaintiff's March 1st letter makes a number of representations that do not accurately reflect what has transpired to date concerning the limited discovery the court is allowed to proceed. Pursuant to the civil case management plan and scheduling order entered in this action, discovery is limited to the issue of whether defendants accessed or viewed plaintiff's work on the Steam website and any action or activity with respect to that viewing, including voting. Plaintiff has, however, served discovery demands that go far beyond this scope. These demands, which include 12 separate document demands and 22 separate interrogatories, are also not, as plaintiff's counsel state, essentially the same as the subpoena served on Valve, but far broader. In subsequent meet and confer correspondence, the parties agreed that, in accordance with the limited scope of permitted discovery, defendants would produce information concerning access to Mr. Abdin's Steam posts by the individuals involved in the introduction of the tardigrade character in Star Trek. In accordance with that agreement, defendants served response to plaintiff's discovery demands that, while preserving defendant's objections stated in relevant part, as discussed during the parties' prior meet and confer discussions and correspondence upon the conclusion of defendant's investigation, and by no later than March 19th, the court-ordered deadline, defendants will produce information concerning any access to or viewing of plaintiff's work on the Steam website by the individuals involved in the introduction or development of the tardigrade character in the series, as well as the activity by such individuals, if any, with respect to such access or viewing. Far from asserting a blanket objection, as plaintiff's letter suggests, defendants have thus agreed to produce information and materials falling within the scope of the permitted discovery. Now, what's important to note here is that the defendants failed to produce anything. When the plaintiffs asked the defendants, are you going to produce the discovery? Defendants ignored them. Then they asked again. Then the defendants ignored them. Then the plaintiff called them up, and they said, nah. So then the plaintiff had to ask the judge to compel them to comply with discovery. So the judge set a hearing on the 12th, and then then these guys finally came to the table and agreed to produce the discovery. That's what's been going on. In short, they have been very resistant to complying with discovery. Very resistant. Even the limited scope of discovery that they claim that they're following, they have not actually produced said discovery yet. So their letter is worded very nicely. Defendants have no hesitation in providing this information to plaintiff. Why haven't you then? Why did they have to get a judge to demand it? Defendants have thus agreed to produce information and materials falling within the scope of the permitted discovery. And have also interposed no objection to plaintiff's subpoena on Valve. Well, good. You shouldn't have any grounds to subpoena Valve for information that your employees gave to them. You shouldn't have any objection to that. There is no gamesmanship. Right. Lawyers for massive entertainment conglomerates not complying with simple discovery requests. No gamesmanship happening. We believe that this information is legally irrelevant for the reasons set forth in defendant's motion to dismiss, and because, irrespective of any access to plaintiff's game, defendants independently created the allegedly infringing tardigrade elements of Star Trek Discovery series well before plaintiff posted the video upon which this action is based. A factual issue not raised on defendant's motion. Why would you not raise that on your defendant's motion? Why would you not raise that in your motion? But in all events, defendants have every intention of complying with the court's directive, as the parties' correspondence and defendants' discovery responses show. The factual investigation necessary to do so has taken considerable time because of the number of individuals involved, and because some of the individuals involved in the relevant episodes of the series are no longer associated with the show nor otherwise within defendants' control. We have nonetheless endeavored to contact these individuals as well in good faith, and continue to do so to the extent we have not previously been able to reach them. Just can't find them. You just can't find them. Where'd they go? Disappeared into the wind. Defendants have begun their production of materials falling within the scope of the permitted discovery. Parties thus agree that at this time the apparent dispute has been resolved. We thank the court for its attention to this matter. Yeah, that's a lot of cockery, poppycockery, if you ask me. We're not complying with discovery. Well, then comply with the discovery. Well, we're gonna. And they certainly are now that the judge told them, you better. But so that's where that is. That limited discovery period does end in 8 days. So in 8 days, hopefully that discovery will be filed. Here's the thing. I'm going to put these on because Cody will be on any minute. Here's the thing about this. All right. Here's what we have to remember. Their argument is that even if their employees went and looked at the information posted on Steam and then went on to create something that was remarkably similar, that they did it independently. That's the argument for why they didn't want to produce the discovery. Well, this is irrelevant. So sure, I mean, the concept of tardigrades helping spaceships travel faster than light across the universe, the concept of that existing in one property and then subsequently existing in another property, they're saying that that concept couldn't, it doesn't matter if they all went, even if all of their employees went and looked at this. Hey, what's up, Cody? Welcome to the show, buddy. That's your fault. Do I still sound that way? That's really weird. Try hanging up and reconnecting real quick. Okay. Oh yeah, he is muted. Just a sec. Sorry. I'll unmute him. Okay, is that better?
No, you still sound goddamn horrifying.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. It's not me. It's you.
Yeah, I guess I'll just have to bear with it. And
yeah.
Not get scared. It's big, scary, evil demon Rekieta.
Yeah, well, suck it up. Sorry.
As long, do
if
I sound, maybe if it is me, do I sound normal to the stream?
you sound
Oh, they're
wait,
saying they can't hear me.
they're lying.
They say I'm muted.
He can't be. I unmuted you. I can see the thing going up and down.
They're saying muted, mute,
No,
no
yeah,
audio.
yeah. They're now they're saying, "Oh God, mute him again."
Am I coming through badly?
You were.
Check.
They can hear now. Okay, it was the delay. That's what was going on there. Because you were muted the first time you came on.
Oh, you sound normal now. Okay, now I think everything is fixed.
Okay, you know what? You're making me look like more of a boomer than I am. I don't need your help. I'm bad enough at this. Oh goodness.
Whatever. It's magically fixed now, so I guess we're good.
I hate all you guys. Chat. I hate you guys. I mean, I love you, but I hate you right now. Okay. Real quick, let me just wrap up this tardigrades thing.
Okay.
Their argument again is that even if there was this property that looks remarkably similar in many ways to their property, and that if their employees had accessed and viewed that information prior to creating their thing, it doesn't matter. That's their argument. It's a terrible argument. Of course it would matter, because that is a question of fact that needs to be resolved by a judge or a jury, not by motion practice that says that no, it's irrelevant. That's a legal conclusion that it's irrelevant, and they'll have to deal with that. Okay, all right. So let's we have a different thing to discuss. I have like an old man eyebrow over here. Goodness gracious. We have a different thing to discuss with you. Let's move on to Vic Mignogna.
Yes.
And Vic, you met Vic over the weekend, is that right?
Yes, this is true. Yes. When we had first corresponded, I don't know how many people are aware of this, and I'm not bragging when I say this because people are going to accuse me of that. But we were at Enemy Outsiders. We were like the first, or one of the first to get the word out, like the truth behind this Kick Vic shit. Because we're we hold fucking voice actor feet to the fire all the time. So when this started coming out, I was like, oh, we're doing this again with the Vic Mignogna shit. And then as it escalated, it kind of blew up. But when we were first getting out about that, we contacted Vic when this was starting to really snowball.
Oh,
and we had posted the screen caps from the Risen Bull Rangers Discord, where he first said he was thinking of contacting an attorney, and we contacted him because we were going to do a podcast on the situation as sort of a like a primer for what was going on. This was before Jesse Pridemore even happened, so to give you kind of an idea of the timeline here.
Right, so this is a while back.
Yeah, so we sent him some email. I had an email correspondence. Dude's nice as hell. And he was like, "No, I don't think I should. I don't want to give anybody any ammunition to use against me." So I was like, "Okay, well, do you want us to at least send you a copy of the podcast, send you a link to it when it goes up?" And like a little, and he basically, it was damn almost precious because he was like, "Will it be positive? I could really use." He was like, "I could use some positivity right now. I haven't been eating or sleeping really well."
Yeah, man, it's really wrecking him in a lot of ways.
And I was like, it'll be very cathartic, trust me. So I sent it when it went up. I sent him a link. We had a little back and forth, and he was like, send my thanks and my love to your staff, the AO staff and the AO community, and I hope to be able to thank you in person sometime soon. So when he was coming to this con, which he does on pretty regularly, my girlfriend's father went to college with the lady that runs this convention.
Okay.
So I don't know if they get in for free or lower price, but they also get VIP. And they can go into the forbidden zones and everything. And she had met with Vic.
I thought going into the forbidden zones is what caused all this in the first place. It's a joke. This is a joke, of course.
She had met with him. She had like a little chat with him, I think last year, the year before. She was telling me about, and I brought that up to him. So I was like, well, I mean, this would be a chance to actually, he said he wanted to thank me in person. We could have a chat and actually meet him in person. So he was having an autograph thing. Well, first I went to his panel. It was a good panel. We'll probably talk about some of the things he talked about. And then I went to the autograph signing. and he has a bunch of headshots there with his characters, and you could pick one of them to have signed. I had to pick the Broly one
Right.
because not only do I, like Dragon Ball, like Broly, but and I told him this. It looks like a goddamn WWE promo. I'm gonna scan it after this. After we do the stream, I'm gonna scan it and put it on my Twitter. Because you got to see it. It really does look like he's auditioning to be a WWE wrestler. And so I go up to him and I say, "Hey, I'm Cody from Anime Outsiders." And I initially expected him just go, "Oh yeah, I remember you guys." His reaction is gonna go like in my little memory bank and like happy moments. It is the most positive reaction I will ever get for ever telling anybody I'm with Anime Outsiders. It takes a minute to kind of process it, and then he shakes my hand really seriously and looks at me. He's like, "You're Anime Outsiders?" Like, yeah. And what was crazy is his handler, his assistant knew who AO was. Like, because she goes, "Wait, you're Anime Outsiders?" Which was the biggest surprise to me, but I guess she's a Risen Bull Ranger member.
Right.
Because they usually help. Because that was like, do you know who AO is? What the fuck? Why do people know who I am? What the hell is this? So I don't remember exactly what he said, but I do remember he had a really emphatic thank you. Thank you. Like the look in his face. I gotta say this, Vic Mignogna for an actor has zero poker face. Like,
Yeah.
when he is actually talking to you face to face, the man has his entire emotion in his face. With a point where he'll do panels and someone will say something he likes and he has a giddy little girl face. Like the man has zero poker face. So he has the really emphatic, thankful like look in his face as he's saying like, "Thank you." And I'm like, I was not ready for this. I was actually feeling like this is the best I've ever felt for being with AO. So I was like, "Can we talk later?" Because I didn't want to hold up his autograph line. I got a picture with him. I was like, "Can we talk later in the green room?" And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." I'll say, I was like, "When will you be there?" He's like, I'll be here for a little bit and probably sometime, whatever. So some time passes. I head to a green room. Turns out I just missed him. So I head down to his autograph line. It's just finished up. So I go up to him. I was like, "You gonna go in the green room sometime soon?" And he basically says that I just missed him. So I was like, he's like, "Wait right here." And I was like, "Okay." So he finishes up. And he steps up and he gets like really up close to me because I guess he didn't want to. He knew this conversation was going to be candid and he didn't want to project. So I was able to talk to him for a bit, and there was some stuff he shared because he had a very candid conversation with me about this.
Sure.
Not too candid. He didn't say anything he shouldn't say because he's not as stupid as Ron Soye and Friends. But
no one is. I mean, only Shane. Only Shane is as stupid as Ron Soye.
I was legit surprised at how candid he was. So I'm going to hold back some details that I think I don't want to violate his trust.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
I will reveal everything that I can reveal.
Now, did you have consent did you give him consent for the handshake? That's what I need to know. Because I need to know if you were in danger at any point in time.
Well, I bro hugged with him after the conversation.
Whoa.
I guess that makes me a survivor. So you're going to have to believe everything that I say.
I will listen and believe right now.
So I can confirm from him something that we've all kind of suspected. The actual reason these voice actors are going after him. And the gist of what he said is that it is the exact reason we guessed in the beginning. It is because he's a Christian conservative, because especially the Christianity thing, that seems to be the biggest hang up they actually have.
Yeah.
Is that because remember I said on the stream before, his like main demand, like really the only thing he's like, "Hey, if you're going to have me in the con, I need this," is that he wants like space to do his little Gospel of John panel and kind of
preach little Bible study.
Yeah.
Little Bible study.
Well, apparently to a lot of these voice actors, that makes him a like creepy cult leader. They think he indoctrinates children. They think that of course, since there have been pedophile priests, him being a very religious man, that must make him a pedophile, especially because how young his fans are. And they think there's something evil about what he does with the whole, preaching Gospel of John panel and shit. That seems to be the biggest reason. The other one was, of course, the him not following them politically. He danced around this a little bit. But he did still make it clear it was a political thing for a lot of them too. He said a lot of them are kooks, and that was his word.
Which we can definitely confirm,
yeah,
based on how they act. Like that's no longer, that's not a dangerous position to take. I'll say it. They're downright insane. Many, if not all of them, the people who are vocal anyway, absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I said to him, and he seemed to agree with this, that if there's any good thing to come out of this, it's that now everybody knows the truth about these people. Like, everybody knows what we at AO have been saying. Everybody knows what Vic has had to deal with. It's all out in the open for the greater public. They know how nutty these people are now. And if there's any positive to this, it's that. And he did seem to agree with that. The political thing, he threw out Sabbath's name, and he seemed to stop himself, like he was gonna go into some. When I was talking to him, I really got the impression that he is pent up on this, and like this venting was healthy. So I feel again even more like good about this. It feels like he needed to have this conversation. I can't even imagine like what he's been going through, and the fact that he can't like say a lot of stuff in public.
Right.
And he probably wants to, especially judging by this conversation. I feel like there's just so much he wants to say, but is too nice of a guy and too smart to say it.
What real quick on that, I don't think people realize how nice Vic Mignogna has been in all of this.
Oh yeah, it's actually kind of amazing.
If Vic were me, if I were Vic, if I were in his shoes, there wouldn't have ever been an attempt to mend fences. There wouldn't have ever been an apology for people being offended. There would have been profanity. There would have been threats, and those threats would have been followed through immediately with brutal precision. Monica Rial would have made one statement on Twitter and then gotten so many cease and desist letters shoved down her stupid mouth that she wouldn't be able to speak even if she wanted to. Mars Girl would be deported. I don't care where to. Maybe she could join Han Leia teaching at that school in Japan. Did you notice Han Leia deleted her big Kick Vic post that predated Mars Girls? Did you see that?
I actually didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah, the one with the 8,000 likes and 5,000 retweets. Maybe it's because Han Leia's information got out. Maybe it's because maybe it's because some people found out exactly who Han Leia was, and she thinks that maybe deleting her account undoes the ridiculous amount of damage her stupid slander over being a degenerate Fujoshi. Maybe she thinks that is going to preserve her. Oh, sweet pumpkin. I hope you like defamation laws in Japan. I think they go really well there. I hear the Japanese have a nice legal system of you get lots of freedom of speech and you get to impugn someone's honor. That's something that they put up with. But yeah.
It was
we'll see.
Yeah, he had some like I said, he's got no poker face. So when I said some things, his immediate facial expressions were pretty interesting. I told him about early on in AO's tenure on Twitter. We're kind of on a Twitter break right now.
Taking a nice union mandated Twitter break over at AO.
Well, because Renfamous, apparently the reason we kept losing accounts, Renfamous' fucking circle of guys desperate to fuck her kept mass reporting us and then taking snapshots of it and adding her like, look what we did. May we have some coochie, ma'am? Apparently we're getting wrapped up in Comicsgate and we never really got involved with Comicsgate too much.
Get some Gatorade or something. Quench that thirst. It's not happening. It's not happening. And I don't think you actually want it. Like if you objectively step back for a second and look at the whole picture there, you'll change your mind pretty quick. I think. And
That and like there was some other like it's a lot of the old anti-Gamergate types of basically like we got famous. I didn't know. I was just talking some shit on Twitter, and the next thing I know, we got internet fame, and this is internet fame is the gayest fame you could get. So I don't know if I really wanted this. I just wanted to have some laughs. And help out like this Vic thing is the first time anything on AO that I've ever done that has been something I take seriously. Usually the thing I take seriously is making my comics. AO
Right.
is just like a fun side thing to talk some shit and have some laughs. And this Vic thing was the first thing I've ever deeply cared about in relation to this.
Yeah, that's because this is different, right? This matters.
Yeah,
It really matters to have an outside of anime. It matters a lot in anime, but it matters to have anytime we have someone stand up and fight back and say, no, you don't get to try me by accusation and condemnation. You have to put it up. You have to put it up, or you don't get to talk anymore. And you might have to pay me a bunch of money for lying, right? Like that's crucial. We have to have it. It wasn't present in Gamergate. It wasn't really available in Comicsgate. I mean, Meyer versus Wade is huge, of course, but it's a different thing. I mean, Meyer versus Wade is about interfering with with a guy who went to create his own thing, and then someone messed with his contract. This would be like going after the unpersoning that preceded the necessity of making your own comic in your own way, right? Like that's why this matters. We don't need to get to this separate industry, this cottage industry of people. We should only do that if we want to, not because people have been removed from existence.
Yeah. It's absolutely. Also, I just have to pause. I love some of the shit your chat is saying that I sound like either Gary Coleman or Bobcat Goldthwait. But I have a weird voice. It changes pitch depending on my volume and excitement. I don't pretend I have the best voice. But so like AO is kind of we will be back. Don't mistake me that we've given up. It's just like okay, we'll take a break. This Vic thing was like the most important thing right now that I was doing with AO. It was the main thing I was focusing on, and so many people now have taken it up the cause. So many people have the majority of people have realized this is bullshit. So I feel like you guys can handle this. We'll take a break, and when things get exciting again or something new comes up we want to have some fun with, we'll come back. But anyway, on to the Vic encounter. One of the things I thought was interesting, like I said, the guy's got no poker face. So when I mentioned the Chris Sabat early in AO's tenure, Chris Sabat had tweeted something where he compared Trump's sons to Uday and Qusay Hussein.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And every time there's an orange man bad behind every time.
So we just quote tweeted that and said, "This is why you don't follow voice actors on Twitter," and he got upset. He got upset at that. And when I told Vic that,
he called you the other F word, right?
Yeah. That was a separate conversation I had with him, which is funny. Like that was on my private account, and he seemed more reasonable back then. He was saying he called me a faggot as a joke.
How dare you? Watch your language on this stream, good sir. I will not have you drinking my fizzy lifting drink.
Oh, he said it as a joke. And I got that it was a joke. And I said, because people were asking me, was he really calling you that? He said it as a joke. But at the same time, I don't feel bad that he's catching shit for it.
No, because this is
the world he wanted.
Yeah, the type of people who are on his side can't deal with a joke.
Yeah, this is what you wanted, Chris. You made your bed, lie in it. This is you made the nasty sandwich. Now eat it up.
Yeah.
But so when I said that, he had this look on his face, like, man, Vic wants to talk some shit about Sabat, but he won't. But he wants to. God, does he want to? He was holding back. He gave me this look, and he gave me this look. He kind of looked away, nodded, like the look just screamed, "Yeah, no, that's him. That's the thing. Those are the things that he does." And that's when he was sort of he mentioned Sabbath's name when he was talking about them being kooks, and he sounded like Chris Sabat. Well, you know, like I
Yeah.
said, as soon as he was like, Vic, what are you holding back?
Don't he doesn't need to say anything about
Yeah.
Chris Sabat. I think Chris Sabat if he doesn't know what's coming, Chris Sabat it's coming, Chris. It's
Yeah.
coming. Because that guy, he's been he's been supportive of his fellow voice actors other than Vic, but relatively neutral on the front of the scenes. I would highly suggest that behind the scenes, we'll call him Chris Rhymes with Sabbath.
Yeah.
Because
Which is
that
sad
guy,
because he's a fantastic actor. It's really sad that he's done a lot of great voice work, and then turns out he's also a douchebag. But that's just par for the course in the entertainment industry. It's just
yeah,
talented entertainers are a lot of times crappy people.
Chris Sabbath. Let's. What would you believe me if I suggested that Chris Sabbath has made his Marlon Brando style proposals. We'll call them proposals. Offers, to fellow voice actors. He's made a couple of those offers that you can't refuse to some fellow voice actors, and suggested humbly that some of their actions recently and where the optics of those actions end up might be damaging to their careers. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I fully believe it. One of the reasons I fully believe
and maybe he sent Sean Schemmel to deliver the message, because you definitely don't want to send an unhinged bipolar monster to deliver that message unless you really want an unhinged bipolar monster delivering it.
Oh,
But
I could tell you some things about Sean Schemmel because, like I said, we got our research staff. We've been following this guy for years. He is nuts. But the thing with Chris Sabat, the reason I fully believe that is that if you remember that bizarre "be there" #be there thing that a lot of voice actors seem to try to push.
It's #bet here. I can't believe you guys have not figured this out. It's #bet here. It's a wager on the outcome of the lawsuit. That's what it is.
Well, there were some shady underpinnings to that, because one of the most interesting things is, if you remember the video, there were two voice actors. One of them was what's it? Oh my god, how did I forget his name? The dude that was in that. Oh my, why did I forget his name? Oh my god, I know this guy's name. There was a video when they made the "be there" thing, and they had these two voice actors that were like, looked like somebody's fucking study.
Yeah, that cut rate American like Trailer Park American Gothic video.
There was like a lady, a voice actress, and an older voice actor. John Swayze, that's his name, John Swayze. The interesting thing about that, and the reason that I had suspicions about that, John Swayze is not a lefty. John Swayze, he keeps it on the down low, but he's a conservative guy. He's a right winger. That is no left wing loon. So the fact that he was doing this was suspicious. Like, there is no way John Swayze is jumping on the Kick Vic train. There is no way.
These guys are terrified.
Yeah.
Do you think they, I'm not going to suggest that they muscled that guy into it, but do you think that they picked him as a balance? Like, they know this guy is conservative.
Well, he's not open about it. You'd only know if you went through his Twitter likes.
Right, but if you do that, like, let's say they're like, I mean, they probably know, right? They know him.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
maybe they tolerate his conservatism or whatever. So, like, look, people who know this they're gonna say, oh, okay, yeah, even a guy on the right, he's even in on this. So Vic's got to be. I don't like, as dumb as I find all of these people to be, on just the general level of life, they do seem to be very good schemers.
Yeah.
And so I don't put anything past them.
Yeah, so I feel like this is why when Simmons says, like, oh, this voice actor liked Kick Vic posts, like, unless it's like Sean Schemmel going through all of them and liking them, even with the AO Twitter accounts, we weren't really reporting on that too much, because there was an undercurrent of how many of these people feel like they have to, how many of these people feel like they're scared for their jobs, especially with the people like Sabat going around doing this shit. So I fully believe that Sabat's been doing that. I fully believe that a lot of these voice actors have probably liked some kick Vic posts in order to stay out of this, keep their jobs, not get muscled by goddamn soy mafia that's going on
Right.
behind the scenes with these voice actors. Um, and like I said, Swayze, like the fact that he was there was like just that was an immediate red flag. Like, what is behind this? Because that he's not a left wing activist. He ain't gonna be tweeting hashtag believe victims. This is a dude that's like a Reagan conservative. Uh,
Yeah.
so that made it like very very suspicious. So if you're telling me that Chris Sabat is trying to pull some fucking skeezy shit, oh yeah, oh I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that was Chris Sabat's study that was filmed in.
Let me just suggest that I have it on very reliable authority that Chris Sabat is using the looming threat of being fired and blacklisted from the industry to try and persuade the outcome of legal matters in this case.
Oh,
Like,
that doesn't surprise me.
As absolutely stupid as it would be to do that, as stupid as it would be to tell someone that their decisions in regards to this case have the possible repercussions of kicking them out of the industry. As stupid as it would be for someone with the authority to make hiring and firing decisions to say that, let me just suggest on good authority, I have it on good authority that he has done exactly that. This guy thinks that he is out of litigation. If I have anything to say about it, there's that tell. Watch out! I scratched my head. So if I have anything to say about it, this guy is going right into the list specifically as hard and raw as possible. Because that, you know what, like you can pull your shady stuff all day, but you start trying to influence litigation by threatening people's jobs, and you need to be put down.
Oh yeah, like that
in Minecraft.
Like, but yeah, you could see Vic wanted to talk about Sabat. I don't doubt he knows that Sabat's doing this. Like you said, he burped out Sabat's name and then stopped himself. So I don't blame him for that. I did ask him about a particular voice actor who I will not name, but let's call them Actor X.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it was like one of the first things I asked him was like, what the hell is the deal with Actor X? Like, I understand a lot of these other voice actors, they've got their own political agendas or their own hangups, but this person in particular seems particularly wacky about it. Like asked him if he was aware of Thing, that I won't name because it will then clue on who Actor X is. Are you aware of Thing? That Actor X did Thing. Are you aware of that? And he was like, yeah. But here's the thing. I barely got to finish the initial question of what is blank's deal? What is Actor X's deal? I thought Vic was going to be like, well, I don't know if I should say it. No, he went in. He was like, let me tell you about Actor X.
Ooh. Now I want to know. Now I want to know who Actor X is.
Actor X, I'll tell you after the stream.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
I think I told you on the Twitter DM.
You probably did.
Actor X is one of the biggest of the how dare you be Christian and preach to these people, because Actor X grew up in a very heavily religious household, especially his father. Actor X is basically mad at his dad in his fucking 40s or 50s or whatever.
God, how embarrassing.
So Actor X is taking it down on Vic, because Actor X thinks that Vic, and this was the quote that Vic used because Vic said, I went up to Actor X and got up to him like I'm up to you now. And I said, what the hell is your problem with me? And he looked at me and he told me. And
he just told me what his problem was.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming Vic was abbreviating things. But basically Actor X thinks that Vic indoctrinates children and manipulates children. And when Vic told me that, everything made sense.
You know what? I think the chat might know who Actor X is, and if the chat is right about who Actor X is, then that pile of trash, by the way, blocked me before saying a word, and then went on some autistic rant about me, but behind the stunning bravery of the block wall. It's just great because I get when I retweet someone, people call me a coward for not engaging them directly because these people don't ever get retweeted, so they don't realize that gives you a notification. But either way, like, I have so many people. There's this fat lady, Toya-san or something. I don't even remember. I called her bucket of vegetable oil today, but she blocked me a long time ago. This chick cannot stop talking about me. And it's like, what? Why would you block someone and then just constantly talk about them? How sad it must be. So if it's DC, that cuck blocked me before mentioning a word, but then he went on a deranged rant. And people were sending me screenshots. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I've never even heard of him in my life.
I will not confirm or deny who Actor X is.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Now, Vic didn't tell me not to say who Actor X is. Vic did say some stuff that he said, you didn't hear this from me.
Right.
And I won't share that. I will not confirm or deny who Actor X is, though, just to be safe. But, so if anybody asks, is blank Actor X? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. I'm just going to ignore it.
Someone wrote hashtag so brave, and I actually read it as hashtag soy brave, which I'm stealing. I'm stealing what I read that you said that you didn't. So hashtag soy brave.
I will say this about DC Douglas, though. Because our research staff went in on him because we did a video on him, which he had taken off YouTube, but it's up on BitChute. It's called DC Douglas, Renowned Actor. And that dude.
Oh, is that him filming himself in the women's bathroom?
Yep. And he's done more than that. He took a liking to recording replies to people while he's sitting on the shitter. At one point, someone made fun of the fact that his job as an actor. So his response was to post a video of him giving a tour of his house. Like, look at this house that I bought with the terrible job of being an actor.
Oh my God.
He would go to raves at cons, doped up, and tear off all his clothes. We have video of that, by the way. It's in the video. It's in the DC Douglas Renowned Actor video. This guy, he is actually insane. I don't know how much I talked about on your stream before about him, but like he had his family on his mother's side all have a history of mental illness, and it's clear that he has it too. That he has been sort of treating through hard drug use. He is a druggie and a half.
So he's a broken person.
Oh, absolutely. You can see that in the end of the video because the video's kind of got a narrative to it. And in the end, you see he's depressed. He wanted to be a leading man. He moved out to LA to become a leading man, a screen actor. And now his life is just voiceovers. And he is clearly not happy about that. And he is not doing too well. He likes to show off his house and how much stuff he has, but then you see him talk about how depressed he is that he's not getting work and that his dreams died and all this shit.
Yeah, that's because stuff doesn't do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, stuff doesn't do it. But how many, like, these people, no joke, are broken? And I've said that to a couple of people on Twitter. It's like, how are you like this? Why are you broken on the inside? Like, and I genuinely want to know, like, what ruined you that you're actually like this, that you have no humor, you have no forgiveness, you have no, you have no deference, you have no grace towards other people, that you immediately go, well, like, he breathed and her hair moved, rape. Like, that's what it is for these people. They're so damaged. And I don't understand. I mean, thank God I don't understand, I guess. But how I can't imagine that their life was that traumatic. So I have to wonder, like, what else was it? Were they just like, did they get the bad box of corn puffs with the lead in it or something? Like, what happened?
Yeah, he's just to kind of give you a little brief rundown of some of the stuff. If you want to learn more, check out the video. It's DC Douglas, renowned actor on BitChute. It's a lengthy video. There's so much that he said and done. He used to be the voice of Geico commercials, and he lost that job because he phoned up some right wing group and challenged them to a fist fight. He just randomly phoned. I think it was like a Tea Party group, and said, "I'm gonna kick your ass." You fucking.
Oh man, wish
Yeah,
they would have taken it.
He masturbated to completion at an audition.
Oh,
Yeah, he was auditioning for something where they would have to be masturbating, and he decided he claims he pantomimed it, and later, like now that people have brought it up, but in a video that he posted on YouTube, which I believe is still there, and it's in our video in case he takes it down. He's like, if you ever have to masturbate at an audition, best to keep it brief. And he gives this look, like side eye at the camera, like tee hee, I came at the audition. I forget like exactly how he says it, but he's basically insinuating that he came.
he was able to bust one out at an audition in front of like a panel.
Yeah, he probably.
I mean,
was doing it
hire that guy. That's terrific. That's being able to get right into that role. He's the greatest actor I've ever seen. I could never finish that quickly.
Well, I guess it helps to be a minute man sometimes.
Oh, come on. No way. He just was able to put himself there, right? Like,
He was able to get into the moment.
oh, no. See, this is the problem with YouTube and life in this current climate. I have the best possible joke to follow that up, but it's so ungodly offensive that I'll have to just send it to you in a direct message because there's no way I could say it. People would eat me alive for saying it. And since I know a bunch of pretty little princesses watch these shows now, thank you for the views, by the way. Since I know that they watch them and immediately screenshot them to talk about how I'm doxing people or whatever, I can't possibly say it, but just remember this moment. And if I don't send it to you immediately, remind me because
I will definitely remind you because I want to know what the joke is. But some of the other highlights, he got his girlfriend at the time to take a horrific shitting potion with him because he had decided to adopt one of those new age health things.
Oh yeah, like a colon
like a
cleanse or something.
Yeah. And she goes into an extensive account of what it was like to be on that, and we have that set to Resident Evil music. It's just it's a horrifying concoction that he just roped this poor woman into taking.
No.
He oh god, there was so much. There's a whole thing of the rave footage of him stripping to his underwear, screaming, "I'm an addict" at a con and writhing and humping the ground. He holds illegal panels where he reads Resident Evil fan fiction that he's not supposed to hold. He's been told by several parties that he's not allowed to have these panels, and he does them anyway. And he at one point called a Jill cosplayer up on stage to read some of the lines, and then he made out with her with her boyfriend in the audience. It's a whole bunch of creepy shit. He has this really cringy Trump cartoon he makes in Flash that he gets a bunch of other voice actors to appear in. They are really hard to watch. We had a clip from one of them in the video. You will see just how, like, dude, when you say Orange Man bad, this is past Orange Man bad. This is some new level of like leftist caricature made this. That fucking Trump, like My Cartoon President show, looks like some goddamn killer satire next to DC Douglas's Trump cartoon.
Gross.
And then he keeps pimping it. He keeps trying to get Comedy Central to pick it up. He tweets about it constantly. It's really sad. There's just so much. I'm forgetting now some of it. There's so much in that video. So check it out.
I've been spamming it in the chat because the chat's moving very quick. So I have spammed it a couple times, guys. So you can click on it, bookmark it for later or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But okay, so
I do want to what was the other? Yeah. There's another thing I wanted to bring up. Now I've completely lost my train of thought. I talked about the Actor X thing. There was shit. What was in the other? So many tangents. I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, a lot of it can confirm. Like again, I know people guessed it, but straight from Vic's mouth, I can confirm. Yeah, it is. They don't like that he's a Christian conservative. What I didn't expect is that the Christian thing is apparently the biggest point of contention. Like that, the fact that he does this, the fact that he has these Christian panels are the thing that like made him a target
Yeah.
to these other actors.
What's so one of the things I've talked about, because this is what I've heard from some people on the inside, is that they quote unquote found him difficult to work with, or that he was like a prima donna or a jerk. But when you really start drilling down into what that means, it literally means his Christian proselytization. That's what made Vic a jerk. It's not that he was genuinely mean to people. It's that they didn't like that he was evangelizing his faith. That's, and con staff, because you see this. Well, I worked at cons, and con staff all hated Vic. It's because he made special requests to accommodate his evangelism.
Yeah.
Like think about this. Like when they're trying to infer that his creepy or rude behavior towards con staff is that, hey, I really want a place to have a Bible study, and that Bible study happens to be with kids, and they find that to be so offensive that he would share his belief to these impressionable children and warp their minds using his heroic persona and his status as their idol. That's what they find to be so jerkish, dickish, or mean about Vic Mignogna. It's not that he's actually mean. At least that's my opinion.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
What further proves you right is that there was the last time he ever did an interview with Anime News Network's podcast, which I know you want to talk about them. I have some shit to talk about Anime News Network.
Yeah, we're going to in just a minute.
Yeah. He was on their podcast, and it was so dickish. I immediately emailed Vic when I first heard it and told him, and like just said, like, I heard this. Wow, they were shitty to you. I was so mad after hearing that, because it was, just imagine a couple of goddamn neats talking to a very talented and successful man who will accomplish more in his life than they ever will. And they want to be condescending, but because they are neats, because their only confidence comes when they are typing on a screen and not when they're face to face with people, when they're actually talking to the guy, they're just really trying to like slip those shots in the most pathetic way. But the whole thing is them like, do you think maybe that it would, be a little presumptuous to say that, that you are indoctrinating people? Like it was a lot of that. It was a lot of qualifiers, and maybe qualifier, maybe you're literally Hitler. Like,
can they just not, like, do they have an inability to confront people with a tough question?
Well, here's the thing: it's the main guy that runs it. The dude that runs the podcast is Zach Birchie. He likes to act like a fucking tough guy. I've known people in the industry since we started AO. Back when I was on Anime 3000, I had like industry contacts that could tell you this dude nobody likes him. He's like he's basically the guy running. He's like the heavy for ANN. He's not at the top, but he's the dude making most of the day-to-day decisions and running things. Nobody fucking likes him, but they tolerate him because of his position at ANN. He's insufferable. There was a thing that we would make fun of him for all the time at AO, where there was a story, a totally real story, where he talked about he brought his uncensored Harpy Lady Yu-Gi-Oh card into Home Depot. And I don't even know why he whipped out a Yu-Gi-Oh card at the Home Depot line, but apparently he did, totally, in this totally real story that totally happened. And ooh, he got nosebleed reactions from the people at the Home Depot. Those normies didn't know what hit him when he whipped out his Yu-Gi-Oh card for no goddamn reason at the Home Depot. There was images of him. He actually, to his credit, he's lost a lot of weight. He used to be a fat ass, but he still won't wash his hair. But like, everybody fucking hates him. Everybody at Crunchyroll, I know for a fact, fucking hates him, except for Miles, because Miles wants everybody to be his friend because he's a very sad man. But everyone else at Crunchyroll Just like it's basically Zach Bertie's like, "Oh Zach, hey, how you doing, buddy? How's A&N going? Yeah, see you later." He leaves the room like, "Fucking fat ass asshole. I fucking hate that guy." Like that is Zach Bertie's life, and this is a
Wow.
dude that talks so much shit online. Like he is the internet tough guy. He's anime donga, except he's not challenging people to fights, but he's talking that trash every day. He's talking that good shit. Get him face to face. Not even face to face. He's just on a fucking podcast with Vic. He's just talking. He's audio to audio. He can't even do face to face. Audio to audio. And he's like, well, don't you think maybe It's like, just make your accusation, you fat fucking coward.
Just do it. Like what I don't understand. Like I don't do too many hostile interviews. Mostly because I don't think people want to do them. Yeah. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't always like them. They get me a little riled up. But when you have an interview with someone you disagree with, you either say the thing or you don't say the thing. What's the worst they're gonna do? Answer? Yeah. Like what? Yeah. Why are you scared of the answer?
Like, I wouldn't recommend listening to that podcast, but if you do, you'll see what I mean. Where his whole thing is, he wants to talk shit, and you tell he gets smug when his co-host starts adding onto it. That's when he starts getting smug, when he's got some backup, and then when Vic hits back, he starts getting quiet again. Because you could tell at points that Vic is like done with this shit, but he's Vic Mignogna, so he won't straight up roast him back. He won't straight up be like, "Hey, listen, fat ass, let me tell you what it's like to have a career." So he won't do that. But you tell whenever Vic just does his Vic Mignogna light hits back, the dude retreats. Never mind. But like, man, on Twitter, he'll talk that good shit. Despite the fact this is a dude that got cucked so hard, he hooked up with a girl, and got her a job at A&N, and then she became a dude. And because he can't be alone, he now has to get pegged in the ass every night.
Whoa, okay, that's gross.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
you broke my NPC script.
The choice he had was either I can be single again, or now I have to be gay. And he was so afraid of being alone. This big tough guy, like to talk that good shit. So afraid of being alone. Like, well, guess I'm taking it up the ass now. That's why we don't even make fun of him as much as we used to, because that is so sad. That is just so sad. That's where your life goes. It's like you're so afraid to be alone. Your girlfriend who's like this narcissistic sociopath, like, well, I really want to get attention and back pats, so I'm going to be a boy now. I'm going to start taking HRTs. Oh, and by the way, what I'm saying, they have said this in public. This isn't like stuff we had to dig up. This is stuff they've said. It's like, oh, by the way, when we make love now, I'm going to be the one wearing a strap on, and you're going to be receiving, because if I receive, that's going to remind me too much of being a woman, and I can't have that. So you're going to have to be the receiver all the time from now on. And that's his life. That's Zach Bertie's life.
That's not life.
Like, you can't even make fun. What are you going to say that life hasn't? What are you going to do to Zach Bertie life hasn't already done?
Wait a minute. Do they support this guy? Because like homosexuality is not a choice. Right? So is he in homo face? Like what is he appropriating G culture? Like what? You can't just choose to be gay, right? Like I'm not even trying to be joking here. That's the thing I've heard over and over, is that's your inherent quality. So if you're dating a woman who then transitions to being a man, okay, I accept that. But that you necessarily can't make yourself gay.
He says he's always been bisexual, despite never showing any inclinations of this, until his girlfriend decided to transition.
All right.
But it's again, it's just, that's why we don't make fun of him as much, because it's just what can you say? What can you say?
I don't want to say anything else about that guy. Let's transition ourselves. Let's take some ANNGH and start talking about what's been going on here. So the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, in addition to your conversation with Vic, was there's obviously the Japan Times or whatever hit piece that came out from the lowest follower count verified journo I've ever seen. Roland Keltz, whatever.
I've heard of him.
Nobody else has either. It's okay. It's okay. But so this guy, he puts out like a thread on Twitter like a week ago, and he says, "Gonna do a write up on the Vic Mignogna thing. Can anybody suggest some sources?" And someone says, "I don't know. Why don't you talk to ANN?" And he's like, "Ooh, good idea. I'll talk to them." And then some people suggested like me, Yellow Flash, Ty Beard, Vic's attorney, something like that. And he just never answers those posts. He only answers the posts for ANN. And then he goes to ANN for quotes about what happened, and then just reprints their article about how sexual assault is destroying the American anime industry. And he claims it's unbiased and that he has no agenda. So of course that guy's getting hammered on Twitter. But
what more reliable outlet for your information than Anime News Network, the people who advertised a cult propaganda film until people pointed out it was a cult propaganda film, and then they took the ads down.
And the only cult propaganda film you should be watching are my streams. Because I don't know if you know this, Cody, but I have been appointed cult leader by an Anime News Network nonsense. Bobda? Do you know who this guy is?
ANN has no place talking shit after they were, not only did their founder have a false rape accusation against them, I guess they didn't hashtag believe victims then, but not only that, they were buddies with an actual sexual predator.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You people have no place to talk.
So, okay, so here's my problem with it. Can I let me screen share this with you. This will be brief. We'll do a screen share here of is this the one I want? Yeah. All right. So here, can you see this thing?
Yes.
So this is Bobda blocked me immediately when I made fun of him for being dumb.
Yeah, he blocked us on AO too, or multiple accounts.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to join the club. So this is Curious Cat. And Anon asks him, "What are you going to do about Rekieta's cult harassing you and other ANN reporters?" So you're welcome. You're welcome, Bobda. But then he says, he answers, "I'm not entirely surprised my thread about how right-wing ringleaders weaponize their audiences was targeted by a right-wing ringleader weaponizing his audience." Now, imagine the level of the lack of self-awareness you have to possess. Imagine the level of soy that you have to possess to realize that ANN is suggesting that other people are weaponizing their audience. Like how ridiculous. After they completely ruined a man's career by weaponizing their audience of danger hairs. Like what? So he says, "As I said, they do this intentionally, pot, meat, kettle, in order to create an overall chilling effect on discourse they dislike, which is why Anime News Network colluded with IO9 and I believe Polygon to try and SEO Vic's name right up the rape totem pole."
Well, not only that, like if they've been doing all kinds of crazy shit for years, like they're on their forums. First of all, if you try to say anything pro Vic Mignogna, your post will be deleted from their forums. Toot sweet. And they have all kinds of interesting word filters. If you try to say SJW on their forums, it will be word filtered to Shonen Jump Weekly. I know that I think there's other word filters. If you try to say cuck or some other stuff like that, they won't allow you to say certain words on their little safe space.
I've learned that cuck is incel terminology, whatever that means.
I'm so pissed at how these far leftists have co-opted the term incel because it's such a fitting description for some people. Some people are like angry, frustrated virgins. So what else do you call them but an incel? But now that's a goddamn danger hair term. It's been ruined.
The real question I have is, all right, so you've got the incel thing going. what? Uh, they're opposed to slut shaming, but they will shame someone for not being slutty enough.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't get this. How is this a thing? How is that lack of consistency okay? Well, I mean it's not. But okay, so here we go. This is so talking about the chilling effect, which is borrowed from constitutional law and used inappropriately here, you dummy. This has the further effect of ultimately making sure public searches on any of their target subjects are clogged with reams of their posts, making actually discerning what's happening from the outside that's much harder. That's literally what they do. That's literally their entire MO, is to do this to people, to get their stupid articles up the SEO chain to be the #1 search result on Google. That's why they backlink and reference each other in all of these posts. That's why the IO9 article referenced the ANN article and backlinked it. That's how you SEO these things. Thank God there's people actually fighting back and keeping Vic's name not too tainted by those articles. But here, it happened with Gamergate. Of course, you gotta drop Gamergate. It happened with Comicsgate. Sure it did. It's a proven formula that right-wing agitators use to cow their enemies and control the conversation.
These people always sound like a goddamn thesis paper. They don't talk like normal people. People don't talk like this.
No, but let me just go ahead and say one thing. You know what Bob does mad about?
What?
We're better at it than him.
Well, the Anime News Network, they want to be Polygon, which is sad to say, but yeah, they want to be a big name. I mean, they're a big name in anime, but they want to be like a force for change. They want to have social power so bad. And meanwhile, like, there's so much to talk shit. Like their site, they have not upgraded their site in any kind of technical way since like 2003. They're running the same goddamn site because they have this massive encyclopedia, which is actually good for basic information, but that's because it's like crowdsourced, and they're so incompetent. They don't know how to take all of that and transfer it to some kind of new site structure. So they're running the same piece of shit website that they've had since 2003. And if you want to see just how comical that can be, try viewing their website on a phone.
No. Don't do that. Real quick, I want to address a super chat that's very specific. From Hackle BS. Says, the girlfriend was never a girl. He's been with a man the whole time. Unless there's proof against them having GID, gender identity disorder, please don't rag on them for that. They may be a crap person, maybe, but no. It's not about whether or not the girl was a man the whole time. That's not even the issue. The issue is whether or not he knew that the girl that he was with was a man the whole time.
I think if you're, do not entertain Jesu Otaku's fucking little. First of all, goddamn Hope Chapman made a video tell like, my name is Jacob, and it was like how she found out she's actually a boy, and it's a goddamn bit from Liar Liar. Like,
oh no.
I was eating breakfast, things like I was eating cereal, and I couldn't swallow my food unless I said I'm a boy. Like, that's not how it works. She's had a record of doing shit for fame and attention. She's always been this narcissistic sociopath. Lord Cat had a pretty epic rant against her, which is absolutely accurate. She's always been like this. She's a piece of shit, and she is absolutely the type of person that would do HRT but not get the surgery just for attention and adoration. Like that's all she cares about. She's always been a piece of shit. She has a rap sheet of scummy behavior. The whole thing, she hooked up with Zach Berkshire. She was originally dating this guy Nash from Channel Awesome.
Hold on, I have to read.
Okay, I just want to real quick. I'm not going to go through a long story.
Yeah.
She was dating this guy Nash from Channel Awesome, and they got a house together. Then she started cheating on Nash with Zach Berkshire so she could get a job at ANN. And then she kicked Nash out of their house, left him homeless. Despite the fact this was half his house, she kicked him out of the house and moved Zach in. Like that's the kind of person she is. She boned a guy when it would get her some internet popularity. And when this guy could get her more internet popularity, she ditched the first guy and then kicked the first guy to the curb and left him homeless. That's the kind of person she is.
Sounds like a real peach.
Yeah.
I just have to read this one chat because he asked me to read it like an hour ago and I didn't see it, and I'm sorry. Mythos Irving says, did his Hogwarts letter come? He's talking about Ron Toye when I mentioned that he's been quiet for 24 hours. I don't know if his Hogwarts letter came, but it would be funny if he was on his way to wizard school right now. I think that would be very funny, but we'll see, I suppose. All right. I had a theory question for you.
Shoot.
What's it take for Japan to take notice of this disgusting monstrosity of what's going on, and Toei to say, you know what? We don't need Funimation at all. Because my understanding is Toei could basically pull the DB super rights tomorrow if they wanted to.
I don't actually know. From what I understand, Funimation has like a deal with Toei. But what I find interesting is
here's the thing with deals, like contractual deals on licensing agreements. If you've got someone causing waste to your brand, if Dragon Ball is suffering, and I think Dragon Ball Super is definitely suffering from the Vic Mignogna stuff, they should be able to pull that back, no problem, because you're not allowed to cause spoliation or waste of a property that you're holding in trust, right, through a licensing agreement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the interesting thing is because this should give you an idea of how incompetently Funimation is run. We actually, early in AO's tenure on Twitter, we got into this because we managed to dig up the Glassdoor accounts of former Funimation employees.
Yeah.
And the situation that company, I mean, that is basically a shithole where the bathroom doesn't work. Their employee bonuses are paid in DVDs.
Thank you. Not even Blu-ray, you scum.
They share a building with a Christian broadcasting company that produces ads for Rick Santorum. Rick Santorum has been in the Funimation building. He has walked through the halls of Funimation, which is true. That was in the Glassdoor accounts. He has been there. Did
they burn sage after he walked through?
No, that would be a religious thing to do. We know how they feel about that. It is a shithole. So their COO, I don't know if he's still COO. First of all, they also point out that a lot of people at Funimation slept their way to their positions. That was in a lot of the Glassdoor accounts. There's a lot of people hiring people they were fucking or people they were friends with, people with no experience, but they got jobs at Funimation because they got somebody's dick wet. The COO is particularly incompetent. A lot of people were wondering, because when Dragon Ball Super first dropped, it took like a year and a half before Funimation ever licensed it and put out a dub. That's why the English dub is so far behind.
Yeah, it's embarrassingly far behind.
Yeah.
I mean, the Japanese version, the sub version was like 100 episodes ahead.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I was thinking, like, is there a deal? Is it Toei not want something? Like, what is going on? Well, it turns out, no, it's just because the COO was so incompetent. Dragon Ball Super was airing, and this guy's like, we don't need to worry about that. And he was like licensing all these titty shows, because what Funimation does is they license any ecchi show, the fan service shows. Can I
talk about that real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, here's the thing that I don't think Funimation is considering right now. Let's bring some reality to what happens in a lawsuit, in a major lawsuit against Funimation with Vic Mignogna. You're in Texas, Funimation. That means that Texas residents are going to be very interested in what's going on in their state, especially if they have like an enterprising corporate law firm representing a person, and that corporate law firm might find it in their best interest to weaponize the values of Texas against a studio that puts out animations of very, very young girls with very, very lewd outfits and sells them to children. Now, listen to anime fans before you jump on me for this. Don't think of it the way you think of it. Think of it the way a 39-year-old Texas man in Denton County will think of anime, who's never seen one before, when they get that news story from Fox News exposing the dangers of selling over-sexualized minor characters in mainstream television shows that air on Netflix, that air on Toonami, that air on Cartoon Network. Imagine what happens in the public eye when the mild degeneracy of non-hentai anime hits mainstream Bible Belt America in a lawsuit. Does Funimation have any idea? Does Funimation even for a moment think about what will happen when Vic Mignogna's lawyers make a montage and buy an ad and just show the good people of Texas a bunch of 14-year-old anime characters in titty costumes running around?
Yeah.
Or a bunch of little schoolgirls with upskirt panty shots just gratuitously blasted off. Have they thought? But no, the answer is no. Of course the answer is no, because it said, have they thought? And I'm referencing Funimation. Of course the answer is no. They haven't thought about the 35-year-old soccer mom who's driving her 11-year-old to school, and he mentions he watched DxD High School or whatever.
Oh, God.
And on YouTube, he saw clips of it, and he asks her to look it up on YouTube, on Netflix or something like that, and she goes and researches it. Oh my God. Do these people honestly want to put mainstream America, and trust me, if Beard, Harris, Bullock, and Hughes think it would benefit their client to burn Funimation's reputation amongst the good people of Texas to dirt, they will absolutely do it. And it won't be hard. Anime is ignored largely by the majority of flyover America because they just don't pay attention to them cartoons, right?
Yeah.
But anime has Japanese values, not American values. They may try and dub them in here and there, but it is wildly misogynistic. It is wildly over-sexualized, and I know it's a joke. Again, don't think of it the way you think of it. Think of it the way a mom with a 13-year-old boy is going to think of it, or a mom or a dad in Texas who, if someone touched his precious little girl, he would literally shotgun them down and drag them behind his oversized truck. Imagine what he's going to think when he sees little girls being objectified on cartoons that his little girl's boyfriend is watching. I don't think it'll go the way they think it will.
Oh yeah, they're so fucked. But to give you, because I want to finish the story, because this is
Sorry.
This will let you know how Funimation runs. So what they do is they pick up all these titty shows because they're guaranteed sales. Now they don't sell much, but they're guaranteed to sell. That's the thing. So what they do, they will get all these shows and they just throw them out. They put out dubs so they can hire, basically give their friends jobs. But they know the people that are buying these shows, by and large, aren't watching the dubs of these shows. So they just put out really low effort dubs for these titty shows, and they just grab up all the licenses they can, because they're cheap too. They're cheap licenses, and they sell, let's say they're guaranteed 1,000 units. Not a ton, but guaranteed. So the COO of Funimation is focused more on that, the guaranteed money. And there are like these new shows. I can't remember what it was, but there's these new shows, and one was like totally forgotten. And he thought this was the next big hotness. So he's like, yeah, that Dragon Ball Z thing, that's yesterday. that's not going to sell to the new hip new anime audience. This is a guy, by the way, I wish I could remember his name. We knew his name when we were, pulling these Glassdoor reviews and shit. But this is a guy who had no experience in anime or even entertainment before. He came from like some what the hell was it? Some firm that sold some product. I don't know. It wasn't lumber, but it was like lumber or something. Like, just what the hell are you doing going from that to an anime company?
Right.
But he's grossly incompetent. I don't know if he's still the COO. He might be. But so yeah, that's why the Dragon Ball Super dub is so behind, because they were just like, nah, for like a year and a half. This franchise is their goddamn cash cow, and the people in charge are like, that's yesterday. That's bygone era. Nobody watches Dragon Ball Z anymore. Nobody gives a shit about that.
Yeah.
That should give you an idea of the brain trust that is Funimation.
Yeah, they have been they have done this wrong every step of the way. You could excuse their initial reaction. Like, honestly, I can empathize with their initial reaction of, oh my gosh, all of our voice actors are telling us that this guy is a predator and needs to be removed because it's going to be a PR nightmare. Well, we'll remove him. I get that. The moment this went down the way it actually went down, once people found out that he was removed, and the groundswell support for Vic Mignogna, from the moment they let him go, they have made misstep after misstep. You can tell that it's not business people managing this. If it were business people, like with any sort of credibility or credential, running anime or running Funimation, I have a feeling they would have already settled with Vic. Like, if they had any business savvy, they would have already settled with him, because to risk a lawsuit in the type of industry they're in, with the fact that they pay less than or they're not competitive with union rules, and that they're in Texas, and that's a double standard for them. The fact that they're promoting all this anti-Me Too stuff when their voice acting staff is overtly touchy, huggy, kissy, and flirty. Every one of them are. It's not just Vic Mignogna, right? Yeah. And the fact of the product that they put out goes largely against all of the values they're professing to hold, and how bad it will look when that is put under a spotlight. I mean, they've misstepped every single time. I can't even imagine being this incompetent.
I think one of the reasons, my personal theory, is they got way too big than they were prepared for. Funimation started as like, none of these people when this company started were professionals in any of this kind of shit. Like, this,
no.
they just some people that had this license, like out of someone's fucking garage or something. Like, the actors for Funimation, the first ones for the Dragon Ball Z dub, when they picked it and they started redubbing it after the Canadian people like dropped it. None of them were actors, or the ones that were like barely actors. Like, these were friends of the production staff pulled off the street. I mean, Sean Schemmel has even said he was a tuba player, a trumpet player or something, and was like, you want to come down and do a silly voice for a cartoon? Like, yeah. He's not a trained actor. And you could tell if you go back and watch that old dub, these are not trained actors. And then they got big, but they got big enough. There was a time, I think a lot of people forget this. There was a time Funimation actually had their shit together and was doing good work. Sometime after Yu Yu Hakusho, when they stopped breaking up goddamn scripts into like some unrecognizable shit, and they started doing more faithful dubs and hiring actual actors and either regular people acting lessons. Like, they were actually making a lot of good decisions and making a lot of good dubs, and they gave a shit because it was niche. It was big enough to where, you know, they had resources, but it was small enough to where it was a comfortable little business for this group of anime fans to make good dubs. And it was fine. There was a period of time where Funimation was the best. I was shilling the shit out of them for a while. Because for Funimation,
now it's exposed. Yeah, Anime Outsiders still loves Funimation.
No, but when what happened, it was like a dip up, and then they started to go down again. And I think when they started going down again is when they started getting bigger and becoming a bigger company. And they started doing, you know, at first I was like, yay, they're expanding, they're getting a little more mainstream. And I like that when they would advertise, they would do a trailer for a show, they wouldn't like advertise it to an anime fan, they'd advertise it as a regular piece of entertainment. I appreciated that. And as they were starting to get bigger and expand more in the mainstream, they got bigger and bigger and too big for themselves to handle. And these are people that are not experienced business people. Clearly, these are not people that have a lot of business acumen now becoming a big business. I mean, this is a company that was like a side project of a Japanese immigrant who also runs a Christian broadcasting studio or whatever, the Christian filming studio.
Right.
Like Gen Fukunaga, like Funimation is not his only thing. It was like a side thing with some other stuff he was doing. So as Funimation got bigger, they got too big for themselves to handle, and they started to collapse. If I can make a nerdy reference you won't get, but some of your audience might, it's like the bad guy in Earthbound, Gygus. He got too powerful, and it started to break his brain. And as he got more and more powerful, he got dumber and dumber until like he became like all powerful and absolutely like an absolute fucking an almighty idiot. That is what Funimation is becoming. They got too big for themselves, and they started getting stupid. It went from a company making anime and just big enough to work to the point where basically an anime club has been handed a large company, and none of them know how to run an actual large company.
No, and that's very, very apparent.
Yeah.
Very, very apparent. Well, man, I think we should probably bring the Vic Mignogna segment to a close. I have like a million chats I got to read. And then I've got to get into at least Hambly versus Loader. I got to update people on where that is.
All right. Real quick, I saw in your chat someone say, do you know anything for Crunchyroll? Oh my God, we do. We have a guy in Crunchyroll. We have a goddamn mole in that company. If any opportunity ever comes around, trust me, I have an immeasurable amount of stories about that one. I think we've talked about it on the show, but yeah, we have a fucking mole in that company. I know about fucking Crunchyroll. I could tell stories, but that's for another day.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Guys, go check out animeoutsiders.com, right? That's the...
Yeah, we just put out a podcast that we recorded before the Vic Mignogna shit went down. It was sort of in the queue, and then the Vic Mignogna stuff happened, and we had to push that up. Actually, in this episode, we do talk in more detail about the ANN advertising a cult debacle. As well as making fun of Sonic Fox and talking about Shield Hero, which we had just seen at the time we recorded that. So check that out at animeoutsiders.com, and we got some more reviews and articles on the way, and we'll be back on Twitter when we feel like it. But we will be back on Twitter.
And thank you for coming on. And for those of you who don't know, I mean, the person who behind the scenes made a lot of all of this happen is Mr. Cody. He's the one who gave me Vic's contact info. That's why, I mean, he's part of the reason that the GoFundMe exists and all of that stuff is because without him, I wouldn't have had any idea of how to contact Vic. So
yeah, I can't believe it's blown up like this, but I'm so happy. And it's nice that I could just sit back. I don't have to do anything anymore and just let all these other much more popular people help Vic in ways I could never do. So thank you, man. Nick, Rekieta, I just got to say before I go, man, you are the man, dude. You have single-handedly like uplifted the view of lawyers for so many people. Because I think most people grew up with those jokes in the 90s, shitting on lawyers. I think we all remember that joke from The Simpsons about the world without lawyers.
Yeah.
I think you have single-handedly made lawyers badass and cool for an entire generation. So keep on kicking ass, man. You're the man.
What do you call a lawyer buried up to his neck in cement?
What?
A good start.
See, there you go.
Yeah. Don't worry. Most of us are still trash. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on again. I am going to read all these super chats and we'll briefly discuss Hambly before signing off. So thanks a bunch, and we'll have you on again. I got to do another anime stream sometime. I mean, I'm doing tons of them. A fun anime stream, not just a Vic Mignogna stream. So
and everybody, again, thanks for all the support to Vic too, man. That dude, after talking with that dude, I have never hated the Kick Vic people more, and I already hated him. But after meeting with the guy, seeing what it's done to him, and see what a genuine, actual, real person he is, the dude's a god. He's pure as shit, man. Leave him alone.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, like, if you want to know, if you think Vic made any missteps in all of this, like, I have some beef with his initial statements and stuff like that, just because I know you don't apologize. Even if you think you're apologizing for something else, you can't do it. It's literally because he's so genuinely nice. And so he so believed that these people would just accept it. They'd accept his apology and that would be fine. And that's what he tried to do. Yeah, and if you talk to him for any amount of time, you realize he had no idea what the mob with the pitchforks and the torches was actually trying. Like, they weren't trying to get rid of the hay. That's not why they had pitchforks and torches. It wasn't a toss and burn. It was we're gonna kill you and burn your corpse.
He is our reluctant protagonist, definitely.
Yeah, he had no idea. So anyway, man. Well, thanks a bunch, and you have a good night, buddy.
Yeah, you too, man. Peace.
All right, y'all. Let's burn through these chats. I am so sorry that there was a delay, but I knew I had Cody for an hour, and I wanted to maximize the time with him. So we're gonna do a lot of them right now, and then we're gonna talk about Hambly. Okay, Earjuice says, Ralph's drunk stream is just a mess. Thank you for your stream. Thank you so much. CPB221 says, Nick, your hair is looking excellent tonight. Thank you. Willa, a.k.a. Bloody Legend, says, Aussie Law is different, but I still love watching you. I love that you do watch me. Thanks. Marty Lund says, clean since 5E. Making a 40K kill team. I blame you. Good luck, buddy. Oh, 5th edition. 5th edition. I got it. Good luck. What kill team are you making? I'd like to know. Shoot me a message or something. John Albert says, funny how DC Douglas, voice of Kira, talks poop about Vic, voice of Rohan, but still works with each other on JoJo's. Viz Media should do something. Ismail Bolden says, oh, Nick, I meant to ask you, what are your thoughts on emotional/verbal abuse? Can it be proven in court? It can. It's hard. It's hard to do, but it can. It can. Oh, JVR just sent this chat, and I want to address it. Hi, Nick. Could you please open an account on Subscribestar for those of us who would like to support you somewhere other than Patreon? Thank you. No, that's because I already have an account on newproject2.com/Rekieta Law. It is a place that is similar to Patreon. It is run by Dick Masterson. It is free of cuckery, and it is transparent to its creators and its users. So check me out on newproject2.com/Rekieta Law. That link is in the description, and it's just like Patreon, and it will hopefully soon have a Discord bot integration as well. All right. Angel of Death is hiding, says, thank you. I really appreciate your comments. I did my best with 998 words, a tight deadline, and sources who refused to talk by Roland 2 hours ago. What do you think of that tweet, Nick? I have to look at it. But Roland, man, that article is garbage. Asia Frazier says, Father, don't. Sorry, just have to be trollish. Also, please explain the meaning of cuck and soy. It comes up in a lot of videos, and I'm confused. A cuck is someone who watches their significant other engage in sexual relationship with someone else and derives some sort of pleasure from that. So they're literally in the room watching their significant other having sex with someone else. Soy is a meme because of I don't know, probably, I guess Paul Joseph Watson kind of popularized it. The idea is that there's some study that suggested that consuming soy lowered testosterone. So a soy boy would be someone with low testosterone, less of a man, something like that. It's now the main reason soy is so effective is because it so drives crazy the people who it's targeted at in pure soy fashion. So there you go. Chris Nemo says, how many people were at the community panels? It's hard to say because the panel was in the middle of the whole event. It was in the middle of the whole event, so the whole event could hear the panel. So like the people at even running the artist row and all that stuff, they could all hear the panels going on. So there weren't always a lot of people standing in front or sitting in front of the panel, but there were a lot of people in the periphery who were doing other things, but also listening and stuff like that. So I honestly couldn't tell you a head count, but sitting down, really only like 10 to 20 people for the most part. Is Lady Raggets a weeb, or does she know the Omae Wamo Shindeiru meme? Also, please don't forget about my DM about tweet mining. I will try and find it. Lady Raggets is not a weeb. And no, she doesn't know about whatever that meme is. Zero Depressive says, Nick, I need you to go on a crazy angry rant on the regressives. I need this tonight. Maybe bring Shane on. Thanks. I hope that I've satisfied that. Anonymous BOG says, can't wait for that Musk Mars colony so at least some of us can get away from all the petty drama here in Normistan and have their own petty drama in Marsistan. Yes. Don't let Mars Girl into Marsistan. Meximan and Cheese says, with little American psychos, David Hogg, failure to push gun control, we suddenly see a push to label toxic masculinity as a mental disorder. Could this be backdoor way for gun control since most say mentally ill should not have guns? Probably. Darking D says, lawful man F the ATF. Yes. Mythos Irving says, you talking about the CIA using cartel money. Terry Davis had the right idea. You have to hit the glow in the dark N-words with your car. Oh my goodness. The CIA killed Terry with a train. He knew too much. Now they got Kyle. I do think they got Kyle. I don't know the Terry Davis story, but sounds ridiculously funny. Tange says parallel construction. That was in reference to something so long ago. I'm not entirely sure what you were saying. Mythos Irving says that $69.69 donation cost me $100 of Canadian money. Could you read it now? Sorry, I didn't see that, but I did read it, and you were still in the chat, so I hope you heard me read it. Mythos Irving says, anyway, I must go. I need to study Palladium Riff's book. For the campaign, I will DM for the first time. Good luck. Short Round says, Fear the Beard patch is done. Mail as soon as I can. I told him about those patches, and he thought they were very, very cool. I think his quote was beyond awesome. I think it was beyond awesome is what he said. So he will be very happy to get that. Let's see. Craig Litton says, drinking and ridiculing people is unethical. Here's $5. Learn to code so you can survive the inevitable disbarring. Austro-Hungarian Strat says, $1 for every minute you were late. HB needs to sponsor you for finally giving me a reason to get into 40K. Always fight the good fight. Jamal Breezy says, stand with Vic and Rekieta Law. Bam says, someone buy Rackets a luchador wrestling mask so as to hide his tells. I can't hide it. That would make me even warmer. AHK says, hypothetical, if you're defending someone for murder and they confess to you that they are 100% guilty, do you still have to defend them zealously? It's a weird question. Technically, if you know someone is guilty of a crime, you have an ethical obligation not to enter a plea of not guilty and not to try and defend them. The question is, are they guilty of the crime? That's how you kind of get around it. I mean, they may have done the act, but did that amount to criminal activity? You don't actually know till a jury works on that. So, what? Oh, Terry. But you do still have an ethical obligation to defend them zealously, but what that defense looks like might change. I mean, you have your procedural stuff, but you can't lie, right? Lawyers cannot misrepresent the truth. Gengio says, what is your opinion on the legalization of weed? Do it yesterday. Matt Field says, butane strips THC off in liquid form with pressure. There you go. Thank you for that. Tsar Bomba says, Mr. Rekieta, can litigation be brought forth to a university that falsely accused someone of being a school shooter, resulting in being Baker acted? 72 leading towards 32, asking for a friend. Yeah, I would think so. That would definitely be defamation. It depends on how long ago it was. You'd have to talk to someone in that jurisdiction. What do we got? Oh my goodness. I'm screwing things up here. Hold on. Whoa. All right, we've got okay. Sorry, I had to find that. Spanish Dexter says, I've seen him use a lot of these guns in his videos. That's in reference to Kyle. That guy from that thing says, Kyle should have had himself a boating accident. Razgriz Reborn says, sorry I'm late. Why did he plead guilty? Pled guilty because he was facing probably many more years in prison than he'll get. He might even not get any years in prison. He might be able to get out on probation. Kojo says, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives should be a store, not a government bureau. Rip shotguns, I'll put a few rounds downrange in memoriam. Boag says, Google Chinese waifu stock exchange market. Let's see. We've got the Purple Rant says, can Vic get a sum from Funimation for removing his name from their products and linking the wrong Vic link if he's proven innocent on the claims? I think it'll support the argument for malice. That's what I would argue. Griff Gambino says 2 questions real quick. Is there a legal process to put class 3 firearms and accessories in a gun share so that on death it transfers over? Yes. Yes, it's a gun trust. It's a gun trust, an NFA trust. If you want more information about that, send me a DM. I actually write them. Mauricio Romero says, can you please post a link to the video where you review Kevin Landau's 100-page misconduct complaint? I tried finding it with no luck. Yeah, I can. I'll put it in the description, I guess. It's Landau, or if you DM me, I'll send it to you. DM me somewhere, wherever. JVR says, hi, Nick. Could you please create an account on Subscribestar? Oh, I already read that one. No. I mentioned that I'm on New Project 2, which is where I would prefer everyone subscribe. newproject2.com/Rekieta Law. Bad Player says, FPS Russia case reeks of parallel construction. Yeah. Yes, that parallel construction. Yes. It just reeks of a setup, but yeah, they're after his guns, so they try and do it through the marijuana thing. Texan 83, the Texan says 83. So that model of battleship Yamato I found is only 6 inches long. Found another, but it's a model kit and instructions only in Japanese. Kind of iffy sending now. Ty is a huge nerd, so he could probably figure it out. Ed Chambers, how would you argue in court against the gay ops? They obviously pulled with the smell and unnecessary warrant. Like I read that one earlier. You can't argue against it. Sarbamba says 6 years USA military. They are officially called suppressors, not silencers. Don't try to tell the government what to call them when they have propaganda to get on. These guys don't know thumb from genitals when it comes to firearms and attachments. Right, because they don't make them silent at all. They're still quite loud. They just don't make your ears burst. Joanne Baloney. So Joni Baloney says, hi, Nick, love your streams. Do you think your Jewish genetics gave you a natural aptitude for law? I am not aware of any Jewish genetics. As far as I know, there aren't any, but yes, we'll say yes. Razgriz Reborn says, didn't they get the 3D gun guy with underage female suspiciously as he was making headlines? Rip Cody Wilson. R.I.P. Cody Wilson. Yep. Asia Frazier says, Gus, use the super sniffer. J Dodd says, super sniffer from Richie Rich. Eyes of the Wolf 101. What is Inquisitor Nick's origin story? Oh, it's long and detailed. I'm not going to do it right now. Mr. Snuffle says, ever going to do a Mueller roundup? If they ever finish the accusations and the investigation, maybe. But you know that's carrying through the 2020 election. Moist John says, 1,000 kilogram, that's a lot of hits taken. How long do you think it's decriminalized on a federal level, leaving it up to the states? Hopefully soon. They gotta get, it's a disaster. Liberty Cat says, thanks, Nick. PG and Deku says, there should be a law where if it comes out that a falsehood caused a confession or conviction, that it renders judgment null and void. There kind of is. It's just up to the prosecutor's ethical obligation to do it. Tim Forsyth 89, like they're going to do that. Tim Forsyth 89 says, seeing those grammar errors made me dumb. Twitter. Eternal Dragonoid says, Team Scorbunny or Team Sobble. I have no idea what that even means. Eaton Penification says, aren't accountants math lawyers? Yes. Liz Reptile says, your streams bring back what I missed about streaming pre-2016. I'm now a Patreon. I did see you in the Discord. Thank you for that. I am all up in your Discord now. Mwahaha. Awesome streams, dude. Thank you. John Doe says, those mandatory minimum sentences that even a lawyer has to work at to decipher sure make a great deterrent to crime. You should see the sentencing guide. Like, go look up how big the federal sentencing guide is. I could just tell you. Where is that? Oh, no, I never mind. I can't. I minimized it, and I'm not going to pull it up right now. It's absurd. It's absurd. Okay. Let's see. The DJD show says, hail Tardigrades and Vic. I added you on Patreon. Thanks, buddy. Chris Larimore says, hello, Nick. If what is posted on the wiki that the license was returned to Aniplex of America is the deletion enough to bring them into the case despite them not being involved up until this point, I don't know if I trust that just because they don't have the license to the show anymore, that they're in control, that they're not in control of that. I'm kind of curious as to who has authority on the Full Metal Alchemist cast list. Joni Baloney says, my favorite 40k god is the one with the dick and titties. Short Round says, fear the beard patch is done. Mail as soon as I can. Okay, now I'm caught back up to where I can just read off of Streamlabs. Thank you. We're almost still way behind on chat, so I'm going to do a couple more. We'll talk quickly about Hambly, and then I'll do the rest because I know many of you want to buzz out, but I must read all of these. It is my commitment. I like the Spike Man says Hayachu Oni-chan, Kimochi, Daisuke, Hayachu Kimochi. I know I just said something awful, but thank you. Nerdrotic says, Rekieta Law, thank you for talking about tardigrades. Annis is a fighter and a good guy. Annis does seem like a very good guy who's getting railroaded by massive companies that stole his property. That's what it looks like. I like the Spike Man says, Oni-chan Daijobu. Come on, buddy. Stop doing it to me. Stop doing it to me. Next, we've got copywriting a concept is stupid. Copyright law needs to be changed to not allow this authoritarian BS. Copyright has gone too far. It's not just that they copyrighted the concept. I mean, they took his show. They took his game and made it into a show. You have to pay a license for that. Hikari Blue says, are you getting into anime? If you are, I would suggest Steins Gate. It's a very good time travel story despite the slow first half. Midnight's Edge After Dark says, Anna should call on Brian Fuller as a witness. Sakaki Onzai says, Cody's probably a great guy, but he sounds like Carl Weezer. Michael Mascarena says, Rekieta needs an IT guy. Shh. Chris Nemo says, Cerno is pronounced Cherno, FYI. Thank you. Amtank says, Shota, unleash the powers. Shota. Magurd, I'm in the big time, says, Nick, in your estimation, which state is the best in which to be FPS Russia? No stupid gun laws and marijuana is legal. Probably Colorado. But it's still, he got tagged federally. It didn't matter what state he was in. That's a federal charge because he did it through the mail. He's toast. Ghost Fail says, here's a toonie. Trim those caterpillars, Nick. I will try. They grow faster than you'd imagine. Michael Mascarena says, I like this Cody guy. Yeah, Cody's good stuff. Storm Knight MD says, considering they are kind of violating most of the biblical commandments and tenets, not surprising they are projecting severe. Finn Frog says, I thought so about that creepy Christian BS. Marshall says, liberals need Jesus. Forever229 says, oh, sweet cheeks. Asia Frazier said, should I ever draw a gospel-based anime, I'd want Vic to voice one of my characters. Jesse N says, why do leftards act so crazy like this just because a person is Christian or Republican? I don't know. Rhino says, Renfamous is going to unite all geekdom against her. Yeah, I guess. She's an excellent foil. Lily Liver says, anyone think the AO guy sounds like Gary Coleman? Tange says, to AO Cody, I just wanted to play Vidya. Yeah, everybody just wanted to play video games. We all just want to be left alone. We don't want the agenda, right? We don't want it shoved down our throats. Landon Mag and James says, Nick, I have it on good authority from reliable sources that you recently were seen eating smelly body parts. Care to comment on this fact? How dare you, Landon? Lay EG says, religious discrimination. If only we knew some fierce Christian lawyers ready to defend a man's freedom of religion at a prestigious law firm in Texas. Oh, that would be unfortunate. Blaine20 says, my other Twitter account is still stalled at second appeal for asking if Renfamous is a dude. DFW Knight says, no. Cody sounds like Truman Capote. Hikari Blue says, so many communities died because of these madmen. Yeah, they don't value the community. They don't. They just want to force. It's almost like, here's the tell. So itchy. It's almost like what they want to do is not allow you anywhere to escape their agenda. It's weird. And I know that's a conspiracy theory. It's only freaking obvious that any community you're in, you have to have some left-leaning perspective shoved and ham-fisted into it. You cannot be allowed to get away from the loud, dominant cultural mores. You can't have any escape from it. It's not allowed. Zacko32 says, whenever anyone speaks out against Vic, they seem to start with his faith. For example, Digibro does sometimes. It's really the simplest of motivations. Well, maybe Digibro should stop masturbating to Lolly. Ismail Bolden says, Cody, grow yourself a beard and join the family. You have the potential. Fear the beard. I stand with Vic. SM Skorks 89 says, remember Nick, Chris Sabat voices Yamcha? Enough said. Ooh. Sarabama says, Mr. Nick, do you think it is okay to still enjoy a character / art form even if the actor/actress is unsavory? No, absolutely. Absolutely. If I didn't watch art that I disagreed with the artist, I'd never watch anything. Ismail Bolden says, be there in court. Hashtag be there in court. PG and Deku says, that awkward feeling when you have to defend all for one. Hashtag My Hero Academia. Gladiator says, kick this annoying spurt and get Tug or Flash on. Well, no. We'll just get Tug or Flash on another time. Lover Girl 1X says, people get mad at Vic for giving hugs and kisses. Ryan Kopp, who runs numerous cons, has police reports on file. Would you look into that? Maybe. Eternal Dragonoid says, Funimation is like Town of Salem. Sean and Sabat are mafioso while Vic is Inno, but Vic was voted guilty. Yep. Sarbamba again says, Nick Rekieta legally shatters Nico kneecaps daily. Mega Vigoroth says, it hurts me to know Armstrong hates Edward. Mega Vigoroth says, who's Jim? That's Medicare. And I'm going to read a couple more and then we'll talk about Hambly and then we'll finish them. Intimidator 108 says, for those who are facing the consequences of their action, trying to ruin Vic's career, are possibly repeating that famous line from the Bad Boys movies, stuff just got real about right now. Yep. Shark Week says, I still believe you can separate art from artists, even if the conspiracy against Vic is true. I can listen to the English DB dub and still enjoy it. Of course you can. It doesn't mean they're not trash people, but it also doesn't mean that just because they're trash people doesn't mean they put out a product that you can't consume. Devil Trigger DMC says, it's 100% SS. Amtank says, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation. Storm Knight MD says, if Rial is a hairdresser as a second job, she's in the no-go zone on the hot, crazy Matrix runaway. Well, joke. Moist John says, masturbation in public. How is he not an LA leading guy? He has all the qualifications, just missing the child dungeon. Oh, are you sure? Are you sure he's missing it? Wouldn't say I'm missing it, Bob. Terrible. All right, let's talk Hambly, right? Oh my goodness. Let me go back to the solo view. Here you go. Hambly. Hambly versus Loader. We've got Hambly witness list and defendant witness list. Okay. So here, part of their discovery is they have to disclose. The reason I wanted to bring this up, this isn't much news. It's not much news. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I've been talking about how these people that are anti-Vic think you get a gotcha moment in court where they're going to come in with all their secret evidence that they will not disclose and that you're going to drop it and wow the jury and surprise the judge. And the judge will be like, you were right all along. Dismissed. It doesn't work that way. So here is, and I have one other reason, and that's to show that Hambly has some witnesses. So that's very interesting. Here's Hambly's witness and exhibit list. Pursuant to the case management plan, Hambly provides the following preliminary witness list and exhibit list. Plaintiff's witnesses, Matt Loader, Jeremy Hambly, both those guys we know were there, Alex Gygax, and Jordan King. Now, I don't know who these two are, but I imagine they were probably present. Plaintiff reserves the right to call additional rebuttal witnesses and any witnesses identified by a defendant. Plaintiff's exhibits. Oh, goodness. Discovery is currently ongoing. Thus, plaintiff has not made any determinations about the specific documents that it will utilize at trial as exhibits. Plaintiff will supplement as those determinations are made. At this juncture, plaintiff can only list the categories of exhibits that might possibly be used at trial. Social media posts of defendant, financial records of plaintiff, communications of Gen Con, and expense records. So there you go. Submitted by Bill Richmond. And that is where they are. But it is interesting to see that Hambly has two people prepared to call as witnesses. That means that he not only can identify them, but presumably has the ability to contact them. And they have plans to use Matt Loader's social media posts Jeremy's financial records and Gen Con communications, presumably with Hambly and probably ones with Loader as well. All right, so the defendant also had to submit this. Defendant Loader, by counsel, respectfully submits his preliminary witness and exhibit list as follows. The following witnesses may provide testimony at a trial of the above referenced action. Plaintiff, defendant, and then any person with knowledge of the facts involved in this case, specifically with regard to the alleged assault and or alleged damages being claimed by plaintiff. Okay, that's a general statement. That means that they don't seem to have anyone. They haven't seemed to talk to anybody or get statements that are favorable to them. That's a bad sign. Any expert witness retained to testify in this matter, I mean, good luck. I don't think Loader wants to pay for an expert witness to explain why why Hambly's YouTube makes a bunch of money. All individuals necessary to authenticate records. Notice these are all general. All witnesses identified on any witness list submitted by plaintiff. Any person identified through discovery. And any witness necessary for rebuttal or impeachment. They've got nobody. They've got nobody. Exhibits. Defendant has not yet determined all exhibits, same as the plaintiff. So the following general categories of exhibits may possibly be used at trial. Twitter posts pertaining to the alleged assault and or damages. Facebook posts, YouTube videos, photographs, all exhibits attached to any proceedings, pleadings, any and all correspondence between the parties, any and all material, which you can't have any and all correspondence between the parties. Some of that's going to be privileged. Any and all materials identified / obtained through discovery, any and all exhibits listed by plaintiff, any and all documents or records relied upon by any expert witness, and any and all exhibits necessary for rebuttal or impeachment. Defendant reserves the right to amends. So here's the status of this case. They've submitted their initial witness and exhibits list. Hambly has witnesses. Loader has nothing. Nothing, apparently. That's a bad place to be. Loader seems wholly unprepared for this lawsuit from the get-go. And that is not where I would want to be if I was Matt Loader. Hambly seems to be in a much better position. I did mention on another stream that it's interesting that Hambly's original pleading doesn't have his lost income and wages and stuff like that as damages. I don't know if that actually matters because that's going to be jurisdiction specific. In a lot of jurisdictions, the fact that he brought it in on jurisdictional discovery is going to be enough because it's there somewhere in the documents and a judge isn't going to punitively penalize them. But if they've got a real strict judge on that, it could impact the case. But I don't know enough to say if it will. But right now, certainly as far as just winning is concerned, Hambly is better situated than Loader because Hambly has identifiable witnesses. And from what I understand, those witnesses were actually present at the fight and will be attesting to it. And if they're already identified by Hambly and not identified by Loader, that means they're probably giving statements that are favorable to Hambly as a general rule. So that's where that is. I'm going to go back to this other view because it's got, it's a little bit cleaner and I don't have any more documents to review tonight. Let's finish up these chats. That should carry us all the way to 2 a.m. Thank you for watching with me if you leave during the chats. Otherwise, I'm going to keep answering as we go. All Might 89 says, I got here late, but hearing Sabat as a douche hurts. I know you're supposed to separate the actor from the character, but sitting here in my All Might PJs, I can't help but feel sad. Thanks for opening my eyes, Nick and Teenage Boy. Lots of people are douches. It doesn't mean you have to stop liking characters and stop liking art. You certainly don't. TLJ Screwjob says, so Kick Vic says that he, quote, he admitted to his actions on video, as in the, quote, just because 99 out of 100 people wanted a hug doesn't mean the 100th person does video. Has anyone ever admitted to part of the truth, but not the whole truth if actually guilty? This is not an admission of anything. Because even if one person didn't want a hug, that doesn't mean you get fired. That doesn't mean you get called a rapist and a pedophile by your peers and your employer. It's not how any of this works. So even if that's some sort of admission, it's not sufficient. And it doesn't absolve their statements of calling him a pedophile and a rapist and a sexual assaulter or anything like that. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Ismail Bolden says, Nick, I'm broken and hashtag I stand with Vic. Yet you're not, just no matter how broken you are, you're not as broken as these people. Zypher Warrior says, that sounds like conspiracy to discriminate, right? I mean, unfortunately, it's probably not actually actionable discrimination. TLJ Screwjob says, DC donated 100 to my friend's sister's GoFundMe. I don't know if I should tell them about all this DC stuff. They only know about the funny Rooster Teeth firings because I told them. Not any of the stuff about A&N falsifying info and stuff. Should I tell them? Why? I mean, I guess if you want to, but you don't have to ruin the fact that DC did a good thing for your friend's sister. You don't have to do that. There's no duty to do that. Say Brav says Vic should say he converted to Islam. The Texan 83 says this guy rants as good as you do, Nick. Brackets almost as good as I do. Hakojo says I was a longtime regular on A&N's forums. Can confirm that Zach is a pathetic greasy turd bag. Tassia says frick Cody. You have all the good stuff. You are by far one of the best sources of lore on all this nonsense. Cody is very, very knowledgeable. I'm very appreciative when he comes on. Kaki Onsai says, did Cody watch the Shane interview? Any con news? I'm sure he did. I don't know if there's any con news. Epic Yoshi says, a coward who speaks smacks. Sounds like DSP. Ravelin1 says, the kick vicars are evangelizing the radical leftist collectivism. I mean, don't you dare call them out on their irony. That's okay, but Jesus is not. Surely no one was frog marched to the God panels. I'm not Christian, but I stand with Vic. Michael Mascarena says, Cody, I'm too sober for this. Zita Luca says, cucked level is over 9,000. Leon Breaker says, no homo, but I friggin' love Cody, LMFAO. You two will make a beautiful couple. Sarbamba says, can us female viewers be called Rekieta sororitas? Absolutely. I endorse that wholly. And if I'm pronouncing Sarbamba incorrectly, then I apologize. I know I am. Holy Dragoon says, glad to be part of this cult, oh mighty leader. Siren Jag says, I have no room to talk about being a broken person. However, I'm the opposite of these catatonic drones. For me, humor really acts as a salve over the whole thing. If I can get Rackets to tip his fedora and say, Mathot, that is even better. Mathot? Hackle BS says, the girl... Oh, we read that one about the girlfriend being a man the whole time. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe he was, but again, it's not a commentary on the girlfriend turning into a man. It's a commentary on the man becoming gay. That's a very weird thing. Sinnock Boy says, all I'm saying, this is going to be kangaroo court. Punk Pantha says, Anon is prob Bobda, plus any opinion on Dominique Sky. I don't have any opinion on Dominique Sky. She doesn't seem too relevant to the case, and she probably doesn't have any money, but what do I know? Shark Week says, I despise the term blank gate. It just seems so lazy and creatively bankrupt. That's why we go with Weeb Wars here. They put it on any controversy, however minor, and it's lost all impact. Joseph Kerwin says, ANN, ugliest site since Craigslist. Rattlesnake Hand says, going in for a disability hearing tomorrow. Advice? I don't know. Good luck. I don't know enough about your situation. I wish you the best, whatever your outcome, your desire. Larry G says, Monica Rial never held her Q&A on her FB group. Oh, why is that, Monica? PG and Deku says, these people make electronic art seem like a great company. Finfrog says, white knighting for Tanya's super chats. Is that Sarbamba? Is that Tanya? Hopefully. Let's see. DFW Knight says, Funimation should have located in Dallas County. Cerno says, time to defend the First Amendment. Oh, Cherno says, time to defend the First Amendment. DFW Knight says, even Dallas County would be pushing it, honestly. Cherno says, we have to put our eyes on Congress to make sure they don't try to expand obscenity laws. No, I think maybe there's a time when we need to corral these Twitter brigades through Congress and coming up with some sort of way to solidify causes of action for people who try to hide under anonymity of Twitter and destroy people's reputations without any sort of opportunity to be heard. Bless All Toaster says, who knew the Christian soccer moms could be weaponized against our opponents? They always can. They just need the right pressure. Fabled says, anime is trash and so am I. That's the spirit. Maddie P on the road. Nick, what does it take to be a guest? I know enough about something to appear on a stream. DM me like the good old days. Patreon.com/Asterios. I'll DM you, buddy. We can talk about something. JVR says, hi, Nick. Could you please open an account on Subscribestar? Oh, we read that one. Ike 13D says, welp, I'm assuming whatever is happening right now is the coolest thing. I was watching it on my Wi-Fi, but that just went down and my phone won't show me what's happening. Have a drink on me, I guess. Oh, sorry, buddy. F. Kiara Stone says, these VAs have the mindset of an 8-year-old. They have no idea what they're doing and are seriously petty. I hope Ty destroys them in court. Me too. Aiden Paladin, a note about DC Douglas. He got fired from Geico for drunk dialing a Tea Party group and called them the R word like 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, why is it always something? Weirdo with a cello says, Kick Vic's lawyer is preoccupied with Loader. Satanic Potato says, FPS Russia. What's this about then? FPS Russia hasn't been relevant since the 00s. What's he done this time? Well, he's on PKA, the PKA podcast, and he apparently received drugs through the mail and got arrested for it. So it's not so much that he's FPS Russia, it's that he's Kyle Myers, and he was caught in 2017 doing that. So it has been a while. These things take time. Siren Jeg says, Klatu Barata Nikta. Galavan Prime says, Klatu Barata. Galavan Prime says, Nick, can you help me set up a GoFundMe for my production of Ron Soy Boy sex toys for all the beta cucks out there? Oh, I don't know, buddy. Maury Kessler says, Nick, have you gone over how A&N could be impacted by all this? Curious about how media law may apply, if at all. I need to do a deep delve on A&N. Thomas Chilemi says, Nick, if there is no proof of any of the accusations, can't Vic hypothetically win against everyone? Also, why is men in porn not gay? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Those are the big questions. Yeah, he can hypothetically win against everyone. Question is, who are the targets? You got to make the targets efficient, otherwise it costs too much. Matches Burn says, what chance can FPS Rush keep gun ownership rights? They're gone. They're gone. He needs a presidential pardon and then permission from ATF. That's the only way he gets them back. Andre Baliza says, Shane is back attacking you on Twitter. Keep up the good work. Greetings from Portugal. The only thing Shane is attacking is he's furiously attacking that chair, and it's really a shame. Bad Dragonite says, no Sobble or Score Bunny. Hashtag Team Groomkey, they're Pokemon. Oh, they're Pokemon. Gotcha. Anon says, Pomf Kamochi, what is this sticky stuff on me? Oh, gross. The Dark Bunny Rabbit says, Oni-chan Daijobu is it's okay, big brother. The Kilted Privateer says, my favorite Chaos God is the Star Child. Yeah, buddy. Yes. Satanic Potato says, this just went from OWO to UWU real effing fast. Blaine20 says, Vermont law requires data brokers who sell our data to third parties to register with the Secretary of State. I hope this spreads to all states. I can't wait to opt out. Ike13D says, you got to get in California. That's where you got to get it. I fixed it. Just a note, when you have headphones plugged in, you have to put them in your ears. Love that you're live every time I get out of work. Oh, thanks, buddy. You failed 2323 says, question, Nick, if Jamie Markey's GoFundMe is indeed fake, how much trouble could she be in on top of Vic's lawsuit? I mean, Jamie Markey will just claim she was wrong and dumb, which there's plenty of evidence that that's a character trait of hers. Curious Items Inside says, can a state board of pharmacists make a ruling on the legal status of CBD oil, deciding whether it's legal or illegal, not without statutory authority to do so? It depends on if the state board of pharmacists is empowered to make that determination. So short answer, probably not. Starscream 1540. If a publicly owned company refused to comply with discovery, who is going to jail for contempt of court? Lawyer, CEO, board of directors. They'll just lose. They won't go to jail, most likely. They'll just lose the case if it's a corporate entity that's refusing. They won't go to jail. They'll have to pay a fine and they'll lose the case. Zero the Slayer says, we need to start our own community with strippers and blackjack. Al says, that Japanese article made my peen sad. Yes, me too. PG and Deku says, you need to get a UA student uniform cosplay. At least you're not more of a hero standing up for what's right compared to the SJWs. Sarbamba says, Nick, Luchiurist. It means Nick is the best lawyer. From Russia with love. You have global support. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bam says, snort, 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 ack, ack, ack. Ichisinko Nigrosaki says, someone from our side should edit Vic's Wikipedia page under the sexual allegations part to include the falsified evidence. It sounds too pro-kick Vic. Good luck doing that on Wikipedia. Cherno says, I was saying that we must defend anime from calls for banning it from said soccer moms. Yeah, it's hopefully it won't get that far, right? Hopefully it won't get that far. But that's a different thing than, them getting it banned is one thing. Funimation losing any support that it had, that's the goal on everything. Michael Mascarena says, I'm wearing the anime is trash shirt. Attaboy. Cherno says, FPS Russia should sue to invalidate gun laws. Thomas Chalemi says, Nick, I love you. I also used to love Gekdom, DBZ channel. He hasn't commented on Vic at all. Should we not support neutral parties? Neutral for gain? Support who you like. Even if they're anti-Vic, you can support them. That's okay. Like, they can be wrong. People can be wrong and make mistakes. We can't do what the other side does. We can't unperson people. Now, maybe you don't support them in the meanwhile. Maybe you let them know, hey, you know what? I don't appreciate your neutrality, or I don't appreciate your anti-position. I don't think you should stop supporting people for being neutral and seeing how the cards fall. That's okay. But, maybe you tell people, I don't appreciate your anti-Vic position. I think you're mistaken on some of the facts. And for now, I'm just not going to watch you until this thing blows over. That's fine. You don't have to hate people for being wrong. Landoname says, I heard murmurs of a fun anime stream. Oof. I hope to be contacted, Nick Daddy, as your anime expert. Also, enjoy those DVDs. Need a 1 out of 10 to 1 out of 10 rating. Billy the Kid Lawrence says, found you through Kickvic stuff. You're a beautiful human being who actually cares about what's right in this world. Keep doing you, sweet cheeks. Thank you. Thank you. And Leo Breaker 49 says, Nick, you missed my first super chat. Let me try and find it just a second. And Mimaru Dolphy says, Igne Natura Renovatur Integra. By fire, nature is restored in purity. So Leo Breaker. Let me find you, Leo. Let me find you. It didn't, come on. There we go. Leo. Where are we? Where is it? Oh, Leo Breaker. There we go. There's one. There's this one. I read your one that said no homo, but I friggin' love Cody. Oh, evening, folks. This DC dude is friggin' pathetic. There you go. I apologize for missing that earlier, Leo Breaker. But there you go. That is it, y'all. It is 2 a.m. This week, we're going to have Monkey Jones. Hopefully either tomorrow or Wednesday. Coach Red Pill, the opposite day. We might take a little break from Vic stuff unless something major happens. But that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple days. And then stay tuned. So much more to come. I've got to get to the Covington High School kids. The Covington Catholic kids are apparently going to sue another publication for hundreds of millions of dollars. And hopefully that one's a little bit better constructed. I wasn't a huge fan of their WAPO argument, although maybe it'll work. I don't think it survives preliminary dismissal, but I got to relook at it. So that's on the agenda. There's a bunch more. Thank you all for joining me. And listen, I know many of you are not big fans of Coach Red Pill right now, but let me say this. Coach Red Pill reached out to me. He asked if he could come on and talk about his book on my show. Coach has always been nice and kind to me, so I will certainly honor that, and we will not be delving into the drama surrounding Coach Red Pill, Ethan Ralph, or any of that, because that's not my fight. I'm not involved. If I tell someone that, I will have them on my show, I'm not going to break that word to them. So even if I think they do something a little silly, or if they get in a fight that I don't think is very wise, and I do think that feud is unwise, but yeah, I will. I'm not going to compromise my integrity because of someone else's conflict. So that's the way it goes. I do hope you'll check it out, but if you don't, I understand. So like I said, not every guest will be liked on this show, and that's okay. That's okay. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. I will announce tomorrow what is tomorrow, and I will announce Wednesday what is Wednesday. And you guys have a fantastic evening. Peace. Peace.